Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Lexi out here's Friday morning, Friday freak out, and we're freaking out because Indiana did it again. That's right. They go to other teams' arenas in game one of series, and they steal the first one on the road against teams like Cleveland, beating New York and New York. Yeah, beating Oklahoma City and Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City only lost one game all year to the Eastern Conference. And now they've lost two. And game one of the finals is the second time that they lost. The only game they lost to any team in the Eastern Conference during the season was Cleveland Cavaliers. Well, Indiana eliminated that team's out. And, they can beat Oklahoma City at home now. Halliburton hitting a game winner in the last seconds of the game to beat them by one. Just barely, just enough to beat the Thunder in game one and shock the whole entire crowd in Oklahoma City. Yeah, this is going to be a series. Anybody who was thinking it was a sweep, well, that's not happening. I thought it'd be 5 games, and it may still be. We'll have to see. But it seems like because of this first game, we may get a longer series than normal, and it may be going to like 6 or 7 games. I feel like that might be the thing. And there's a new reaction on To The Point and this channel, collaboration, post-game reaction to the game last night. If you want to watch it, 20-minute clip of King and myself talking about game one. It is it's posted on this channel, and it's also on his channel. So go ahead and subscribe to The Point and check it out. We talk about Canadians in the finals and stuff like that. So definitely a lively clip. We're going to be doing these post-game reactions on both channels for the whole entire finals. So the next one will be out on Sunday. So check it out. I hope you'll give Brian a subscription. That's right. Let's go. Let's see what Trevor's saying here. Time is like a river. You cannot touch the same water twice because the flow that is past will never pass again. Enjoy every moment of your life. Now, I could get deep about this and say, but what if the water evaporates, goes in the sky, and then it comes back down and it flows past you again, and you can put your hand in it? I don't know. Maybe I found the one way it can happen through evaporation and then rain. I don't know. Either way, I get your point, Trevor. It's true. Your time is one of the most valuable assets in the world. And once you lose it, you don't have it back. It's true. It's more valuable than money, honestly, time. And, that's one of the big secrets to the world right now. It's like, ooh, get them so busy so they don't have time. Yikes. Time and health are wealth is what I'll say right there. Thank you, Trevor J., Commissioner of Fun. I hope you're having a great Friday so far. And he's saying Indiana Pacers came back to beat Oklahoma City. Pacers 4 road games, clutch shot wins these playoffs. Okay, so they've had 4 of these kind of games. Yeah, and Halliburton is really kind of the guy for it. He's the specialist for it. And, it's crazy because, it seemed like the Thunder were just dominating this whole game because they were leading the whole entire game. And it's kind of like the Pacers have a whole kind of thing they do where they hurry up and figure out how much time there is. And they're like, all right, we got to get in the position to be able to try and steal it at the end. And they do. It's the last 2.5 minutes of the game. They're down by a pretty good margin, like a double-digit margin, and they swallow it up. And then they go ahead by 1 at the last second and win. It's crazy. It's pretty awesome. It's pretty cool. I like it, man. I like it. Yeah, Trevor's saying Pascal did the NBA Game Time interview with Isaiah Thomas, Kenny the Jet, and Shaquille last night. Yeah, and he should. He should be getting those interviews. Siakam, the leading scorer for the Pacers in the win. I'm thinking he only had like 19. It wasn't like a super huge number. He was 7 of 15 from the field, 10 rebounds, so a double-double, 3 assists and a block. Yeah, he is solid throughout the game. In fact, at the beginning of the game, Siakam was utilized because for some reason the Thunder wanted to go small to start. They started Cason Wallace instead of Isaiah Hartenstein. And I don't agree with that at all. I think that really backfired in their face because, at the beginning of the game, the Pacers were having a hard time getting started. They were missing a lot of shots. They looked really bad. And the Thunder kind of jumped out to an early lead. Well, the only way that the Pacers were inching and clawing to get in the game was a mismatch that Siakam was able to exploit because they had a smaller lineup out there. In fact, Siakam was the only Pacer who was getting going right at the start with hitting some very solid moves, utilizing his size over a smaller defender on Thunder. So yeah, that was awesome, and it was a lot of fun to watch Siakam and how he works these days. He's very similar to how he was on the Raptors, obviously, but there's some new levels to him. The other thing I really liked about Siakam was he showed that hustle and heart, that will to go get something more than other people. There was a loose ball mid-court at one point, and honestly, it was anybody's to get, but who ran directly to go get it, chased it down, and ran it back the other way and laid it up as a quick transition basket? Siakam. And that's a testament to his hard work, his energy, his motor, and his relentlessness. And I appreciate him for that. We also saw Siakam do some great defensive stuff in this game last night. He had he has these signature blocks that people don't really pay attention to. He had another one of those at a key moment where he was very good defensively, stopping one of the Thunder from scoring, and he blocked them. So yeah, it was kind of like not like the Mathern one exactly, because Benedict, he had a crazy block in the air, very athletic, but against Jalen Williams. But yeah, Siakam had one of his blocks in it too. So yeah, he was carrying early before any of the Pacers could get going. And without Siakam, maybe they don't even jumpstart in that game and make it a game by the end. Trevor saying WNBA Commissioner's Cup winners. Liberty beat the Mystics, and Phoenix beat Golden State Valkyries. I heard something on the telecast last night saying that the Valkyries, in their inaugural year as an expansion team in the WNBA, are getting crowds of 18,000 on average per game. And that's fantastic. I hope that we can do that here in Toronto too. That is really, really good, considering they're an expansion team. They're supposed to lose, but the Golden State market is really supporting them. That's fantastic. We need to do the same here in Toronto. In some ways, us not coming in this year with them, it's given them the complete spotlight. And that in some ways kind of annoys me. We should have been in there getting games already for Toronto Tempo. But alas, we're a year delayed because of a mess up with the initial bid. And it is what it is. And we'll be patient and we'll wait for the team next year. But yeah, it's kind of special for the Valkyries to have that spotlight as the only expansion team this year. And I'm kind of jealous. I'm not going to lie. In some ways, we should have been coming in the league with them this year, and there should have been 2 expansion teams in WNBA this year. But alas, it is not to be. It is what it is. Yeah, we'll check on the referees for today's games. We got the Atlanta Dream going up against the Connecticut Sun up north. Ashley Gloss is the crew chief. Claire Aubrey is the referee, and Tyler Merkovich, the umpire. A very good referee for the Raptors, Tyler Merkovich. And also the Sparks are going to play Dallas. Eric Bruton is the crew chief with Charles Watson and Kelsey Reynolds as the rest of the crew. So 2 games on the WNBA slate. Get your fantasy WNBA team set up. And I am kicking Fiercey's butt right now. It is pretty bad. 250 to 79. So it's about 250 points to 80 points. Trucker Cass has a lead over our 2-time champion at Meredith right now by about 40 points, which is interesting. James is beating JP very handily. Logical Raptors fanatic winning his matchup over Edmund. And then we got Cool Cat leading over Kareem right now by about 30. So yeah, get your lineup set up. We got to play today, play tomorrow, and Sunday. 3 more days this week, and get your lineup set up because, man, WNBA fantasy, you want to win. That's right. You want to win. G saying this. Good morning, G. Original Raptor Freak trivia champion. He's saying Oklahoma City fans are sick. Halliburton is just clutch. He just is. Pascal is a mismatch nightmare who doesn't need plays call for him. His composure really settles the team down, too. Yeah, Siakam, if there's a journey with him in the game, he really learns the games and tendencies, and he's gotten better at anticipation. And there's certain things that he's doing out there where he's in the right place in the right spot. And there's a lot more help defense with him on Indiana from what I could tell in the game last night. That he really because they don't have a real defensive center. I don't think Miles Turner's that good on defense. And in some ways he's adequate, but he's not like a above average defender. And in some ways the above average paint defender for the Pacers is Siakam. And like his mobility with his length is such an important part of the Indiana defense. It just really is. You know, that was a weird game. Obi Toppin came in and he for Siakam early. And I was like, man, Siakam's the only thing going good. they took him out and put Toppin in, and Toppin just started turning the ball over all over the place with these crazy back to the backcourt passes that go past, and it's a backcourt. And then, yeah, but he made up for it by making a bunch of threes in this game. Obi, it was tough, man. I was like, man, why are they playing Toppin? In the beginning, I was like, man, he's screwing up so bad. You should have just left Siakam out there. Maybe you should be a little bit like Thibodeau, Carlisle, and overplay Siakam because it's the finals. And in some ways, bringing in Obi Toppin to commit a bunch of turnovers right when he comes in, that really kind of hurt the Pacers at that time. But alas, the Pacers are a weird team that can withstand a lot and still come back and win the game by 1, which is crazy. The other thing that's insane is the turnover count. 24 turnovers for the Pacers and only 6 for the Thunder. This is the first time this has ever happened in the NBA's history where a team has so many more turnovers than the other team and they still won. Like, how is that possible? How do they do that? Well, they shoot really well from 3 overall. And they actually hurt the other team for shooting. They shot way better than the Thunder last night, which is a big, huge key to why they won. Now, but it was crazy. I was like, man, these teams are taking too many threes. They're missing too much. Like, there was a lot of threes and misses. But by the end of the game, the Pacers had actually made 46% of their threes, which is pretty damn good, honestly. And that's a big reason why they won. If they don't shoot as well as they did at 3, they're in trouble. People like Toppin and Neesmith had to make those crazy, like they were very consistent with their threes last night. On the other side, Luget's going crazy for the Thunder. And, you don't really see this from Dort very often where he's on fire from 3 like that. At home, it's probably more likely because he's got a bunch of Oklahoma City people yelling, Lou, when he's shooting. And he gets a little riz and a little charisma from that, and like he makes them and he does his little hand thing. But yeah, I love that about Luget's because honestly, whenever you get that kind of shooting from him, that's all just bonus. He's going to do all the other stuff like a shit disturber on defense. His fantastic rebounding in the game, also being as a small guard, out rebounding the forwards like Miles Turner and Pascal in the inside. That's crazy. That's crazy. But when you get like 5 3-pointers from Luget's, that's really like good for the Thunder. And normally they would absolutely win if Lou is actually hitting his 3 like that, because that's not a given. And when he's feeling good like that, well, Oklahoma City is usually really winning, but not the case last night. But Luget's was on fire. I loved it, man. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, great game. Oklahoma City fans were shook at the end of the game. They were like holding their heads like this and going, oh, like that. And it's kind of funny. The atmosphere in Oklahoma City's arena is weird, man, because I got to think about this. It's in the middle of the country and there's not really a whole lot to do there other than go to that game. So, the bigger market versus smaller market in the finals thing in some ways does matter because in some ways it's like, is that a destination ticket? I know Trevor Jay's going there for Sunday to come to game 2. But for the most part, how many like celebrities or people that want to come to the games are coming? It's more wholesome, like local crowd. And well, Oklahoma City's crowd is weird. There's a reason why they need to have them stand at the beginning of the game before they shoot, because they're lazy and they probably sit like bumps on a log most of the game. And honestly, the energy in the building for the finals game was kind of lackluster. I'm not going to lie. If you watch clips of our energy during the finals, it's a whole other level of something from the fans given to the team in Toronto in 2019 than 2025 in Oklahoma City. And I don't know, maybe it's just that Oklahoma City just doesn't know how to get lit because it's just a weird city in the middle of the United States. And it's kind of like not that interesting. Honestly, it's a boring place. Well, in some ways, the finals vibes of that arena come through. I mean, they can spruce it up and make it feel prestigious and big on the telecast. But when the breaks were on and you could see the crowd, I was like, man, this is like lame energy. I was like, there's a lot of yawning and they're kind of just sitting like bumps on the log. Either way, I'm happy for that community to get to the finals and get to celebrate this team, even if the finals feel as weird in Oklahoma City. The finals will feel different in Indiana. Trust me. It'll feel way different in that arena and what the crowd brings there. I don't know what it is. I think it's just that it's Oklahoma City. I think I just got to blame the geography. You make it a destination. There's more likely there's going to be more famous people coming to the finals in Toronto or LA, obviously, than Oklahoma City is just I don't know. There's something missing. There's something missing out there. They need more than just Rumble the Bison, is what I'm saying right now. Yeah, need a little bit more of something. I'm not totally sure what it is. All right, let's see what else y'all are saying in the chat here. G's saying that Chet's inexperience is showing. They went small ball down the stretch, which really hurt them. Yeah, Chet's such a weird player, man. He's such a weird player. I really don't like Chet. I have to preface this. Once again, I do not like Chet Holmgren. I think that his game is goofy. I think he's goofy. I think that he missed his first season and then he played his whole entire next season. But this season he got hurt again. So I think the consensus is he is going to be injury prone, guys. I'm sorry. I thought that if they were going to take one of them out of the starting lineup and put one off the bench, they should have started Hartenstein. If they really wanted to do that kind of weird shenanigans, you start Isaiah, bring Chet off the bench, because Chet is a slender man, hollow man, big man. He's not going to give you any beef up front. And that honestly probably hurt the Thunder in some ways, because you got to clog the lane to an extent. And you ain't got nobody down there clogging the lane. Well, the Pacers are going to find their way to the lane and start making shots, specifically Pascal Siakam. So I don't agree with that decision. I thought it was so weird that they started Cason Wallace and they did not start Isaiah Hartenstein. I don't know exactly what the reasoning for Mark Dagnall to do that was, but I think that was one of his mistakes in what happened last night. I do. And you're right. Chet is inexperienced. Chet is in a totally new ecosystem. And a lot of the Thunder are. If they were talking about it on the broadcast, who has the most experience here? Well, Rick Carlisle and Pascal Siakam. They have the most experience in this. And you can say Alex Caruso on the other side a little bit because of his Mickey Mouse championship with the Lakers and getting to play with that. But it's kind of bullshit, honestly, that he has. Anyway, I won't go too far on that. But the most accomplished, most experienced player in this series is Siakam. And that's kind of fun to see because all that experience comes from us and playing for Toronto. And, of course, Rick Carlisle winning the championship with Dallas and then all the different times. They really do have an advantage of experience over Oklahoma City in some ways. SGA may be the most talented guy involved, but in some ways he's going where he's never gone before right now, just like Star Trek. And in some ways he doesn't have the treasure map exactly like Siakam does. And that's a big part of it. Experience will matter in this series. And that may be one of the reasons why Indiana actually does have a chance in this finals. Yeah, Seymour saying, what a game. Nail biting. Yeah, I guess it was nail biting. In some ways, I kind of saw it evolving this way. I kept wondering why the Thunder couldn't just press the gas and get going, like way past them with a big margin and like build a huge lead. They never could. They were always kind of within striking distance, the most getting maybe 15 points ahead, but usually it was around 10 points or less that they were ahead of them, and Indiana wasn't trailing by much. And I give a testament to the underrated Indiana defense being able to kind of leash the Thunder from just going off, because we saw the Thunder a couple times against the Raptors this year. And they seemed like they were unstoppable on offense. Like there was no answers for trying to stop their whole team. But the Pacers somehow, some way have a system and understanding of what to do to stymie them. And it was very effective. That with what I was saying is like the things, their ability to make up a deficit quickly at the end. And then the fact that they didn't let them run away from them at any point. Now, they may not be as lucky on Sunday's game, because as I predicted on the appearance on To The Point, Rapid Free collaboration post-game reaction, I'm fully expecting SGA to be pissed off, come back next game, and maybe drop like a crazy 40-piece and have the Oklahoma City Thunder blow out the Pacers by like 20 in the next game. Because that's probably the next action, is like maybe Dagnall makes some sort of adjustments. SGA's pissed. Like I said, the pattern is when he loses, he does not sit on his laurels. He comes back with a vengeance, and he shows his true powers. So I fully expect that, but who knows? Who knows what could happen on Sunday? That's the great thing about this playoff season, is it's very unpredictable. The NBA is back, baby, and it's exciting to watch. This is definitely a better game one in 2025 than the game one of 2024 with Dallas and Boston. As far as like you had a game that went down to the wire and had a last second game winning 1-point win. And that is what you want, Adam Silver. Excitement and unpredictability. Everybody could have thought, well, the Indiana is going to lose because Oklahoma City is the better team and they're winning the whole game. No, the Pacers messed around and won still. And that's what I'm saying right there. That's right. I said they get past Cleveland, they're going to go the distance. So you have a lot of belief in the Pacers. You know, they are a special team as people are touting them. And that experience will really carry them. Rick Carlisle may be able to outcoach Tom Thibodeau, maybe able to outcoach Mark Dagnall too. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see if he can outcoach Mark Dagnall because he might. And in some ways, Rick Carlisle may get some a delayed coach of the year from this playoff run this year, guys. He may not have won it this year, but that's the thing. In some ways, the way he's doing things right now may give him some favor for the next year's coach of the year. Watch. Seriously. Let's see. Seymour saying Pascal's like Akeem at the 4 spot, the dream, the spice, the spice, the dream. Yeah. There's a little bit of a dream shake. I don't know what you call it. Is it a Pascal McFlurry instead of a dream shake? I mean, that's kind of like, the spicy spin cycle. Matt Devlin says spin cycle. Yeah, there's some badass stuff about him. And the thing about it, and they noticed it on the show last night, the body control of Siakam is sublime. The way he can handle himself, like there was one layup he did in transition with a defender on him, and he held his arm a certain way to protect the ball, but also make the layup with strength. And there's a whole bunch of experience of how to be successful with converting the basket now with Siakam. And that's finishing through contact. That's all kinds of like this footwork, that footwork. That's why you can't plan for him, because in some ways Siakam doesn't really have a bread and butter, like a photocopied move. He is an improviser. And in some ways, in the moment, he will make something up that he may never have been done before, and he'll be successful at doing it with his step here, step there, spin there, this kind of stuff. It's just a really uncanny ability to spin away from the defender, use their weight and momentum against them, and get space to make his shot. And yeah, there's a lot of Olajuwon in that. There's definitely a lot of Olajuwon in that. Cool Cat is here. Good to see. Number one fan of Siakam. Coach Cool Cat is here on Friday. Good morning, Raptor Freak crew. Great game one. Pacers versus Thunder was a screamer. I love it. Siakam has 3 more dubs to get that next chip. Yes, sir. Yes, sirs. Definitely a Pacers fan here, going for Indiana in this series. I'm ambivalent. I'll go for either side. I'm going to be happy 2 Canadians are going to be champions no matter what. And some of the Pacers fans in the arena were very happy at the end of the game and celebrating. And yeah, it was nice to see. So, those are real ones that will travel to Oklahoma City to see the Pacers in game 1 of the finals. I mean, these fans have been waiting 25 years to see their franchise in the finals again. And well, hopefully this time they'll be successful like Coach Cool Cat wants. That's right. 3 more to go. That's right. Seymour saying he doesn't live for the moment. He is the moment. Cold. That's like a Serge Ibaka I am art kind of statement. He's like, yeah, I don't shoot to miss. I shoot to hit the shot. These are statements that are iconic. Fuck Brooklyn. Is this one of them here? Is like, I don't live for the moment. I am the moment. Yes. Yes, Siakam. You're a badass, man. Stargate is here. Good to see Stargate. It's game 1, guys. This series is not over by any means. SGA is still the best player on the court. My X factor for the Pacers is not a player. It's Rick Carlisle. Yeah, this is a very good point, man. I'm amazed at how, all right, this is the thing. Think about the Pacers when we saw them a bunch at the beginning of the year. We beat them. The Raptors had a winning record against the Pacers this year, guys. This is another one of those weird anomalies. If the Pacers fuck around and win the championship, the Raptors this year, the 30-win Raptors can actually say we beat the Pacers in our season series. I think it was 3-4, 3-1, 3-1. We won out of 4 games. We won 3 of the games against the Pacers. So I don't mind them becoming champions, because in this way, the Raptors, a roundabout way, can say we beat the champs. Now, early in the season, the Pacers had very, very bad struggles with getting wins, and we're not looking good at all. But the season is a journey. And you start out on that journey where you are at the beginning. You're not the same team at the end. And over the course of the season, Rick Carlisle has done a very good job instituting and implementing and building up the team to a higher level of standard of play and getting better and better results as the months went by this whole entire season. The Pacers were a totally different team last year in November compared to the team they are right now. And that's what all NBA coaches try to do. They try to layer on things, and they want to rev up their team so that by the time they're in the playoffs and it really counts, they're playing at the highest level possible. And I have to give so much credit to Rick Carlisle on doing this over the course of the season. Because the Pacers I saw earlier in the season, I was suspicious if they were even a real contender for anything or what was going on with them. In fact, I was worried that they had backtracked from their success last year in the playoffs earlier in the season when I saw that we could handle them. But maybe Siakam's a little nice to Toronto. He said, I don't go as hard on Toronto. I love them. And in some ways, we beat them. We did get a Darko dinner against Indiana this year where we won a third game in a row against them. And maybe Siakam was still thinking about Darko dinner from the year before when he was still a Raptor. But either way, Rick Carlisle has really good organization. And hearing him in the huddle and what he says to those guys and keeping them on blast, he's not a tyrant. He's not yelling at them. He's a very matter of fact, just I'm speaking to you, clear, concise communication about what I expect and what I want from you guys. And they respond and they listen. And there's a lot of intricate like scheming and switches and all kinds of stuff that these guys have really drilled in their heads, and they have a really good system. Part of it is the leadership of Siakam as a hard worker and the way he likes to do things. You can tell the Pacers are very workmanlike and very orderly, like they're soldiers. And Rick Carlisle is a general, and they definitely fall in line and follow commands. So that's a big part of it right there. You want to rev that engine up, that pace car going. And by the time you're in the playoffs, you want that engine running real good. And I'm telling you right now, the Pacers have elevated their game each and every month this season to be at this point at the crescendo of the finals, playing at a high level. And that is a very good testament to Rick Carlisle and building up the team over the year. So, yeah, I totally agree with you, Stargate. I think that, once again, the two experienced guys are huge factors in this series, and that is Siakam and Carlisle. Huge factors. Cool Cat saying Siakam's clutch block on Shea, offensive rebound, shout. Siakam rebound pass to Obi to Hallie and drawing defenders with him, giving Hallie space for that clutch shot. Nebhard point guard for the fourth quarter, dub. Yeah, it was almost just perfect. It's kind of like their Mission Impossible. Why don't you play that music over them for the last 3 minutes of the game? Dun 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 dun. You know, they gotta swallow up that lead. Dun 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 dun. And then Halliburton hits the shot and it goes dun at the end. It's just like the Mission Impossible theme. I mean, seriously, because like in some ways, it's like, why do you do this to him? He already has no hair. Why do you do this to your coach? Why don't you just try and take the lead at the beginning? Maybe because that's not the way to do it. Maybe it's more taxing and fatiguing to stay on top of the Thunder and keep the lead for most of the game because they're always coming up and there's a lot of pressure. Maybe this is smart. Maybe you just play a little dead dog for a little bit for some of the game, and then you rise up at the end of the game, Mission Impossible style, and steal the game from them at that point. I mean, in some ways, I've seen teams use this kind of thing before. Like, yeah, play possum. Let them beat you around for a little while, but when it's time, turn it on, rise up, and go grab the game at the very end. It's so risky because you don't like playing from behind. The Raptors have employed this, whether purposefully or not, in years past, and it drove me crazy. It's like, why do we have to spot them a 10-point lead and then make a crazy, furious comeback and win at the end? Nick Nurse. You know, sometimes this is just, some teams do this because it is really hard to play all 48 minutes on top and hold the lead. And in a game of momentum and switches and runs, that team that sometimes is holding the game for most of the game will be the one that gets the momentum switch right on the end with them. And I think that that's I think this is absolutely part of the plan by Rick. Is like Carlisle's probably like, I don't care about beating them for most of the game. I just want to be beating them when the buzzer sounds at the end. Because, it's crazy. But, yeah, that Mission Impossible theme was going last night. Yeah, and they're working as a team and making it happen with the music and the high stakes. It's crazy. Stargate saying Oklahoma City is clearly the more talented team and clearly has better defense. However, Rick Carlisle thoroughly outcoached his counterpart on the other side. His adjustments were world-class. Yeah, and the more I think about it, it's like, look, Oklahoma City has stair steps to get to. But if you think about that escalator I talk about all the time with all the NBA teams and their spots on the stairs, I think Indiana is a step above them with the stair steps experience as far as going. And partly it is because they went to the Eastern Conference Finals last year. Partly it is because they've done things in the Showcase Cup they've done things in different levels of the playoffs a little bit more than the Thunder. The Thunder's a little bit of a Johnny come lately as far as playoff experience. They've had some success with winning some rounds in years before, but this is the furthest they've ever gotten. And in some ways, that experience factor may be evening out some of the perceived advantages that Oklahoma City had for sure over Indiana. And that's interesting to me. That's very, very interesting to me, because if you have been here, you don't understand it. Listen, we're on a higher escalator than you, Oklahoma City, in some ways. Indiana's a little bit ahead as far as experience and understanding of what it takes. And it's showing. It showed last night. That's right. Cool Cat saying, man, I need a better WNBA team. My supposed shooters are on a negative slide. Yeah, I mean, do what you can. You gotta look at the waiver wire. Maybe there's a trade. Maybe you want to look around and see if you want to target a player that's on another team, and you just start sending trade packages to people. You know, I feel like that may be the easiest way to improve your WNBA fantasy team is if you can get the right trade, because the waiver wire is not going to give you a good push. In some ways, there's nobody on the waiver wire at this point that's going to make a huge difference to turn the tide of teams' favor. But yeah, Cool Cat, you're already in trouble this season. And we just started. This is the third week. You got to get going. That's right. Seymour saying, speaking of coaches, Suns have hired Cavs assistant Jordan Ott to be the coach for the Phoenix Suns this year. This is surprising. And this is what I'm saying. It's like you have success. This team didn't even win the championship. And now one of the top assistants from the Cavs is getting poached to go coach the Phoenix Suns. This is really interesting. You know, every time a new coach name gets hired, and this has been happening on all these coaches' hires, David Edelman, the Finnish guy for Memphis, and now Jordan Ott for Phoenix Suns. The old names go out in the pasture, because where the hell is Tom Thibodeau going to coach? Where's Michael Malone going to coach? Where's Mike Budenholzer going to coach? Where's Taylor Jenkins going to coach? These other guys are filling these spots, and in some ways, New York's going to have their choice of any of the other fired coaches, but they're going to screw up either way. The pressure is immense in New York. And either way, the next coach is screwed, because if he doesn't win a championship, he's going to lose. In the words of Rick Pitino, hell no, I won't take the job back in New York, because I know the pressure, and the fans won't be happy unless I win them a championship, and it's going to be a failure no matter what. So the person who's going to be hired by the Knicks is destined to be failure, and he's going to be a rebound coach in some ways, like in a relationship, because Thibodeau's 5 years, he was excellent. He was absolutely the right coach for them, but they screwed up and they fired him this week. And now the next coach is going to be a disaster, and they're going to blame him, and he's going to be a quick exit after like 1 or 2 years. Watch. And it doesn't matter who they are. They could be absolutely fantastic. Hell, they could get Phil Jackson from 15 years ago or 20 years ago, and he would still fail there. And the New York fans will turn on him. So this will be interesting. Ott is the new coach in Phoenix. I have no idea. I don't know anything about him. All I do know is Cleveland just had a brain drain, and they haven't even won a championship. And that's what happens. Success gets your people taken from you. That's what happens right there. There you go. Cool Cat saying Siakam comes out first because he also has to keep the bench steady. Siakam or Hallie has to be on the court at all times. That's a Pacer strategy. Okay, so that's the pattern. Because I was like, man, he's out early, but they didn't leave him out for too long. And yeah, I kind of paid attention to when Siakam would be off the court and when he wasn't, and how they kind of switch him in and out with Toppin and the bigs on that team. Yeah, they don't have really, in some ways, I don't really think that the Pacers run a true center at all. I really don't think that Miles Turner is the real center. He's still kind of a power forward to me. And off the bench, they don't really have a true center either. It's a very strange team in some ways. Very, very strange team. And on that team is a legend, a man with long dreads and a grill on and jumping around and happy that the Pacers won last night. Is a two-time. I was wrong. He's a two-time Raptor. I think he got acquired, but he never played on the third time. But I'm not totally sure. James Johnson. And, well, as requested by the birthday girl next week, Monique, the superfan Lawrence, she wants me to do the Share the Love Club on James Johnson tomorrow. Let's cock that joint back and bang on them, because it's Share the Love Club, James Johnson tomorrow, y'all. So that I'm going to fulfill Monique's birthday wish, and we're going to do a Share the Love Club for Classic Raptor, who's in the finals right now, James Johnson. So come on in, 9:30 a.m. tomorrow. We're going to be talking James Johnson. That's right. We'll talk about his karate, martial arts, most dangerous man in the league. That's what we'll be talking about tomorrow. That's right. Seymour saying, I heard the Pistons are putting something together for Booker. I've heard this too. I think that'd be great. If they do that, I have no problem with Devin Booker coming to the Pistons. I think that that would be very, very interesting to see. And, I think that in some ways he needs to change his scenery. He's been a Sun his whole entire career. And there's a lot of stupid stuff going on in Phoenix, even though their owner's a nice guy and he seems like he's too nice. He doesn't understand how to do this, run an NBA team. Stargate saying Hartenstein and Chet had 15 points between them, 7'2" and 7 foot, while 6'9" Toppin and 6'11" Siakam had 32 points between them. Yeah, I mean, once again, I think that them not starting Hartenstein kind of threw his whole game off. He's an interesting player. In some ways, he needs to establish a certain level of physicality. The Thunder were doing a great job. Y'all were comparing them to like their arms everywhere, hands everywhere, and they were. Everything they were doing was stifling and blowing things up. Lou Dort in particular, just really being annoying. SGA getting his steals too. But I think that's once again the Thunder starts Hartenstein with those guys, and they play that kind of energy. Except Hartenstein's that physical floor taker upper that you need to establish presence in the paint in different ways. Sure, Chet's a shot blocker, and he can really guide people to go somewhere else because they don't want to get blocked by him. But there's something different about a chunky guy with strength that's physical like Hartenstein that in the beginning of the game, and I say this all the time, this is why Jakob's so important for the Raptors. You want to establish paint presence. You want to establish down low that people aren't coming in here to get anything easy. And not starting Isaiah was one of the biggest mistakes that Dagnall made last night, as far as I'm concerned. He shouldn't have done that. Why would you switch that up just for this game? Oh, because you read that the Pacers have a smaller lineup and you're worried about them running circles around you with a backcourt of Halliburton and Nebhard? Well, that was a miscalculation. As good as Cason Wallace is as a defender and a guy off the bench, he shouldn't have been starting that game last night. And that was a miscalculation for sure right there. Yeah. Yeah, Chet is Chet. In some ways, I don't look at him as a serious NBA player in some ways. I really don't, guys. I look at him as like just a little bit of a variation of Alexei Poku. And these guys, in some ways, look, man, if Sean Bradley was a joke years ago, and Sean Bradley, all with due respect, man, you're an amazing person. I feel bad what's happened to you. But, in a lot of ways, Sean Bradley was a joke. And a lot of people said, yeah, look at this guy. What is he going to do? Manute Bol, same kind of thing. This guy should be the modern day joke like that. Because the man, look, he's just like so slender and so goofy. In some ways, I don't take him seriously. He should be like pushed around. And exactly what you're saying. It's like, what is this dude? Seriously, what is this guy in this league? Seriously, I don't get it. And let's keep going. It was saying, salute freaks. I kept saying, if the game is close, the Pacers can sneak out a win. You got to keep your foot on the gas if you're OKC. I still have OKC winning the series. Yeah. They learned a lesson. And in some ways, it's like Indiana's got these lessons to give these teams in these playoffs. But in some ways, they won't make the same mistake again, the Thunder. And that's like, there's a lesson and there's a gimme for the Pacers. But you know what? Those gimmies is stealing the first game on the road. They've led to playoff series wins this playoff so far for Indiana. Get that advantage right off the bat. And in some ways, really mentally messing with the other team. It's been really crucial to them. The way that they beat Cleveland 2 games in a row in Cleveland was absolutely mentally deflating for the Cavaliers. And well, if the Pacers are able to pull off a second win in Oklahoma City Thunder, this is going to be crazy. That'd be crazy. I'm not predicting it, but if they do, I'd be like, wow, Rick Carlisle's really good. Really, really good. Yeah, G saying Carlisle does not get on them for mistakes and turnovers. He lets them make up for mistakes. I love his style. Yeah, and a lot of people are applauding him for not calling the timeout at the end of the game. Once again, this is a debate that we've had in Raptors Nation at times when coaches like Darko or Nick before him would not call the timeout with the last play on the line, to let it all reset and call a play. No, Carlisle trusts Halliburton. And instead of calling a timeout and letting the Thunder set up their defense and get all oriented too, go right into it. And well, maybe you have a better chance of making that last second shot because you didn't call the timeout. So it very much was the right call. Very much was the right call. In fact, let's go to the Instagram stories, and doubling down with me is Jack Armstrong. First of all, he's saying that trade careers are recession proof. He's doubling down with our guy Scotty Barnes on his trade school advertisement. So he's sitting there, man. He's saying, become a plumber, become this. AI can't do that job. So don't worry about it coming to take your trade school job. So it may be very right. Honestly, Scotty and Jack telling people to go to trade school, it might have to be more and more of that because AI is messing up the job market. And trades are something that are going to be probably one of the last things to get involved with robotics and taking over those jobs. So yeah, in some ways, if you want economic freedom and the ability to take care of yourself, a trade school might be the answer. Jack is applauding that Rick Carlisle did not call the timeout in the last play, and he just got the ball into his best clutch player's hands at the end of the game, and he took over and made that shot. The shot was very simple too. It's a nice little step inside the 3-point line, just enough space to elevate. Very very simple textbook shot by Tyrese, and it made it like it wasn't even a thought that he could miss it. And that's a testament to a lot of hard work by him. And you know what? I have to give Tyrese more credit, man. Some of those threes he hit throughout the game were very contested, and he hit them with not much breathing room, and they were really fire, man. He was really actually, I got to give more credit. But the one thing about Tyrese Halliburton is I'll say the same thing about him that I would say about, like I said, Jamal Murray and Gary Trent Jr. He's a streak shooter. And if he's off, he could be like useless to you other than being kind of assist and a little bit of defensive stuff. But if he's not making his shot, he can be very cold, and it could really hurt the Pacers. So they need a little bit. He wasn't that huge last night. He only got 14 points, but he did get 2 points that were the most important points. That's the thing. So keep on going with the Instagram stories. We got Teresa Resch. And listen, they have a pledge for Toronto Tempo pledge that they want you to sign. It's a pledge to create space for inclusion. I pledge to celebrate the strength and spirit of our community, to stand for inclusion on and off the court, to create space for others and speak out when it matters, to make game day and every day and a place to belong. There you go. I love that. I signed the pledge myself. I put my name on the email list, and I said, Teresa, I pledge to be a person of inclusion and trying to, spread happiness and joy in the world today. So I like the message from the Toronto Tempo in Pride Month about inclusion and accepting and diversity, stuff like that. That's really, really good. Lily Sinks being the hype officer, talking about the Tempo, talking about all kinds of stuff. She's going over her boardroom, and she has Serena Williams in there as the conflict resolution officer and stuff like that. So there's some interesting stuff. Her COO, stuff like that. Leo Routen's words of wisdom: every thing I lose creates space for everything I need. I think I said that yesterday. And one today, actually, there's a advertisement he's doing where he's been playing. He's acting like he's been playing, but you haven't been playing out there, Leo. You're just doing a little photo shoot in the locker room. He's saying also, every saint has a past and every sinner has a future. There you go. That's right. Holier than thou people. Ooh, look out. But I'm just saying, yeah, there's redemption somewhere because Christ redeems. That's right. Lindsey Dunn is on a rooftop interviewing Joey Bats, Jose Bautista. She's in a nice pink dress. And, well, I don't know. Jose is getting inducted into the Canadian Hall of Fame of Sports. So that's why he's in town. So Jose Bautista, Blue Jays legend, hanging out with Lindsey Dunn on a roof. And I think she went to Nashville, and she's at a Brooks and Dunn concert also last night. So that's what Lindsey's doing. Kelly Olynyk watching people do wheelies on bikes riding down the street. It looks like a Florida street or another place. It's not Toronto. But yeah, they're having some sort of bike festival and people on skateboards, and Kelly's all out in the middle of it. It could have been in New Orleans, maybe not. There's a cool, some sort of food. Once again, Kelly's showing off his food. There's like an egg yolk, and it looks like some meat, and it's like a sushi roll. Man, that looks like kind of gross. I don't know, Kelly. The other one looks a little bit better, although I don't know. That's that weird pink stuff in there. Either way, Kelly's got gourmet food going on as usual. It looks like Orlando Robinson's at a wrestling match. Is that a wrestling ring? Did Orlando Robinson go to a wrestling match? I don't know what's going on there exactly. Kyle Lowry's at Villanova working out hard. I honestly think they may need to test Kyle because he's got some He-Man arms all of a sudden. Like, seriously, go check out Kyle Lowry right now. Whatever he's doing, maybe he's fueled by Pat Riley. Maybe he's a little bit like angry. He's like, yeah, I'm not doing big butt this year. I'm doing big bicep. Because this man's looking jacked right now. Maybe Nick Nurse and the Sixers are so embarrassed by last year. They're like, Kyle, we need you to come back and be like He-Man. Come back with like crazy muscles. Because that dude's building some crazy muscle like he's never had before. Like his biceps look different right now. Kyle Lowry. Seriously, guys. Seriously. Jonathan Mobo is in Texas. He's at Lake Travis, which is a destination near Dallas. I think that's where the guys are, honestly. I think that when they were bowling the other day, I don't think they were exactly in Toronto. I think that they all had a meetup in Houston around Jamal Shed in Houston, in places that he liked to be, and the rookies are there. So I'm not totally sure where the rookies have been working out, but they've been together. That's the thing. They were bowling a couple nights ago, but there are some signs showing that they may have been in Texas when they were bowling. Jonathan Mobo in Lake Travis on a boat. He's on a boat, y'all. Emmanuel Quickly is celebrating. I guess it's his sister. She just turned 17. I think that was that birthday party we saw. And then Emmanuel's showing that workout that he's putting on right now, man. Everybody, this is the time of year where everybody puts out their workout videos to show that they're doing their work. And man, Emmanuel is putting in heavy work. Well, I trust that Emmanuel's putting in that hard work. There's some lifting on his shoulders with some really big weights. And we want you to be a little tank, Emmanuel, this year. We want you to be as badass as you can be, man. That's what I'm wanting for you. There he is on a boat, though, afterwards. So he's on a boat, too. But I don't know if he's on a boat in Texas. I think he's been in Hawaii this whole time. But, yeah, he's got some mangoes. It looks like he's eating mangoes and sitting on a boat watching people on a golf course. He can yell at them, I'm on a boat. Vin Bagnani is getting a must. I think he's at In-N-Out Burger is where he's at. So that's interesting. He's a big fan of that chain. Toronto Tempo putting on blast their artist that was in their advertisement. You know, the Raptors put out a clip yesterday, and this may be something we're going to see more of. We just did the 30th anniversary season. There's a almost half-hour clip of reminiscing about the Raptors versus the Bulls inaugural season when the Damon Stoudemire and Oliver Miller and them beat Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen and the Bulls in the Skydome in that very iconic first huge win in the first year of the Raptors. Well, they did a deep dive on it with interviews with people like Leo Routens, Paul Jones, Sherman Hamilton, Damon Stoudemire, talking about the game and playing against Michael and what it meant to the Raptors culture. And they show extensive highlights of the game in it, too, at a very high level. I hope that they're going to do a series like this where they do, and if you're listening to me, Raptors admin, do more of what you did. That was fantastic. That's the first one. You guys need to go through maybe every year and get good wins and cover them like that and go through with the interview package of different people reminiscing about it or talking about being in the middle of it. Do more of these. Whatever you did, it's not open gym. It's different. It's like this is a game in Raptors history, and we're going to talk about it for a half an hour, and we're going to show highlights and really get in depth about it. Whatever y'all did, whatever the impetus to do that, I hope you're doing more of them. I think you are, because it's a nice setup. It's a nice setup. AJ Lawson putting on blast some a post by Raptors 905 about him. Well, AJ, let's have a good year. And Charles Oakley is at the grocery store getting food to cook, because we know Charles is a very, very good cook, and he wants to cook food for his family because he loves them. And there you go. That's your Instagram stories today. Yeah, people are on boats and they're working out. That's what's going on in the Raptors world away from the season right now. They're on boats and they're working out. That's right. Let's see. Where am I in the chat? I am here. Okay. Stargate saying the centers for OKC needs to be more involved in the offense, just a tad bit more. They have to be better, or OKC will not be successful. Let's see if the coach makes the adjustments. I think that somehow, in some way, Rick Carlisle minimized the advantages of the Thunder and really kind of maximized his huge advantage, which is Halliburton's clutch shooting. And that's interesting because, like, SGA should be able to do way more and just act certain freely. And you're right. Chet Holmgren should be more of a factor offensively and utilizing his length against the Pacers. But that the Rick Carlisle and the Pacers have done a good job of stymieing it or just not allowing them to have a proclivity to go get it. So it's very interesting. The series is a series of adjustments. We'll have to see what Dagnall and the Thunder do to adjust to some of the things that happen in this game. How do you have so many less turnovers and you still lose the game? Well, the other team shoots better than you. And that's why. That's it right there. Seymour saying Obi was shitting up the court early, but Carlisle knows exactly what he's doing. Yeah, I was thinking, well, if he's going to do like that, some coaches may take a guy out because he's making so many mistakes and really hurting the team. Like he was specifically hurting the team in the first half. but he's rode with them. He understands his players very well, and he understood how he's got to be, because then you don't get the benefit of him hitting like 5 threes if you give up on him in the first quarter because he's like throwing the ball up the court out of bounds, you know? So, yeah, he was messing up, but Rick Carlisle had trust in him, and it paid off. Randolph's here. Good to see Randolph Phillips. Friday blessings, beloved Raptors freaks, most informative gang. There's a lot in life to be thankful for. Yes, there is. Oh my gosh, every day, bring that thought into your head every day. Just to have the breath of life in your body is enough to be thankful for. I'm thankful for you. I'm thankful for you also, Randolph Phillips. Blessings to the Phillips family, all the Raptor Freak families. Yes, an attitude of gratitude is the only thing you need in your life. If you have that, you're good enough, and you're good. You're gonna be okay. You got to practice it. It doesn't matter the details or anything. You have gratitude in your life. No matter what, you'll be okay. Trust me. Trust me. Infamous saying, I hate the fact that we have had old head in the media hating on the finals because it's 2 small market teams. Real basketball fans are saying this has been one of the best NBA playoffs in history. Yeah, that's a casual take by lazy people. Lazy people that just want to root for like 5 teams in the league, and they really don't have any respect for the rest of the league. And that's a very casual take. It's in some ways it's a tell that this is a person that doesn't understand basketball, that this is a person that's very lazy in their fandom because they basically root and think the things that the media tells them to think. That's what it is right there. They've been so conditioned by the NBA media machine to only dote and care about teams like the Lakers and Celtics that when those teams are not involved, well, they're like, this is boring. That's the NBA's own damn fault. You got to start marketing the league better, Adam Silver, because in some ways that's why the product's gone downhill, because you've denigrated it. And in some ways you've taught the fans not to respect good basketball. And that's what this is, good basketball that we're getting in the finals this year. That is what this is. That's right. Seymour saying Thunder went too deep into the bench. I got a big lead, but they let up. But that's what killed them. I think that they didn't totally respect the threat that Halliburton and the Pacers could be by the end of the game. I think that in some ways SGA was, he was trying to carry, he was doing certain stuff, but I think that they were amazed at just the capacity for them to be very executing and doing that. But I think they'll be wiser for it now that they felt it this game. And in some ways, they had to learn a lesson. And I don't know if there'll be another game where the Pacers are going to win at the last second by 1, unless it's super ratcheted up with maybe an extra overtime or something like that. Maybe they'll catch them off guard then. But right now, I think the Thunder got the message. Don't play with your food. We better put the pedal to the metal and just run right over them. Because if you let them hang around just a little bit near you, you might get what happened last night. That's the thing right there. Salute to Randolph from Seymour, the sheriff. That's right. Stargate saying Chet has to be better. He has to play like a center in this series, or he will continue to be a non-factor. Yeah. And I'm fine with that. Listen, if the Thunder don't win and the Pacers win, I'll be overjoyed. And partly if it's because Chet was a disappointment, I'll be fine with that. I'm a hater like that. Seriously, I can love SGA and Dort. I can have respect for Hartenstein. I can like some of the other players. I mean, I don't really totally like all the players on Thunder. Caruso's kind of annoying to me. Yeah, I respect his grind and how he's became such a great NBA player with who he is. But also he's annoying to me. I'm not a big fan of his. I think Jalen Williams is overhyped. I know he's very, very, very good. But I think he's getting things way too quickly in this league. And he doesn't totally deserve them so fast, especially if they're going to make certain people wait longer. Jalen Williams getting so much so fast is annoying to me because I don't totally think that he deserves so many accolades like he's been getting, honestly. So, yeah, I'm a hater. I love the Canadian guys on that team, but I don't like most of their team otherwise. I'm not going to lie. I don't like that the Jalen Williams is. I don't like that other one either that sits on the bench. I don't like them. Let's keep going. Smooth saying, did Rick Carlisle ever coach the Detroit Pistons? Yeah, he did. He's coached almost everybody, man. He's coached so many teams. Dallas, Indiana, a couple of times. He coached Indiana 2 different stints. Like, this is his second time coaching Indiana. He coached Indiana way back under Larry Bird. Larry Bird was the president, and Rick Carlisle was the coach at Indiana back then. Remember when Larry Bird was running the Pacers? Well, Rick Carlisle was his coach back then, man. It's crazy. Seymour saying Miles Turner is over 200 pounds on Chet. I rate Chet, but he is a boy amongst men. I know, and this is why I say I don't take him seriously as an NBA player. I really, really don't. His position needs beef, and in some ways, you might as well just go play shooting guard, bro. Seriously, don't even go in the lane anymore. Just play like a shooting guard and stay out there. Be a super ass tall shooting guard because that man ain't got nothing down low to hold anybody, and that he's a detriment for that. He's a detriment for that. Honestly. Stargate saying at Infamous, it's not an old head thing. There are even young buck media individuals pushing the small market narrative. Yeah, I don't get that. They're old school. They don't actually, they're old on their takes. This is a take that maybe should have flourished around Cleveland Golden State finals every year. This is over. The League of Parity does not demand this bullshit. The League of Parity is allowing of the small markets to come up and get theirs if they want to. The people that complain about this want script writing in the NBA, obviously. That's the only way this works, y'all. You want the big market teams in there? Well, you want Adam Silver and the referees to script write the outcomes? That's not a good product. So they're idiots. They're idiots. If you want to watch scripted stuff, go watch WWE, is what I tell these fans. Seriously, you're idiots. And in some ways, you're not following the pulse and the change in this league like I am. Kevin Garnett is. Kevin Garnett said the big three's over. Y'all are still pushing. You want to build big threes around here. Y'all are behind the times. Y'all ain't getting this. Y'all ain't get this right. Let me see who this is. Somebody trying to call me on the air. But I'm just saying, y'all are behind. Some of y'all that are thinking that small market, big market, all that bullshit. They conditioned y'all like 10 years ago to think this. Adam Silver probably wants you to change and say, stop dissing the small market. Stop putting down our product. We're putting the best two teams in the NBA this year in the finals. And it doesn't matter where they play. And, the small market people, honestly, they tell on themselves that they want the league to be fixed when they are complain that they need big markets only in the finals. Seriously, what do you want? Integrity for the sport or what? Seriously, you idiots that complain about small market teams in the finals. What do you want? Seriously, I want a fair shot for all the teams, and I don't want a convoluted league that has haves and have-nots. And in some ways, Adam Silver is allowing us to have what I actually want right now. But I know that in the future, he could switch that all back and say, nah, we need to have more favor for these teams. So start calling it better for them, Ed Malloy and stuff like that. We don't need that. We don't need that. Cool Cat saying all the pundits complained and we had an exciting game one finals. Yeah, it's exciting right down the wire. In some ways, you don't fall asleep because, Pacers are coming back. Here they come. Smooth saying Richard Jefferson said at the start of the broadcast that Rick coached the Pistons. Yeah, he did. He did coach the Pistons for a little while. He was talking about how he played against them. And he also played for him because he was on Dallas when he coached Dallas. So, yeah, Richard Jefferson knows Rick Carlisle well, having played for him as a player, played against him. And, he does know him. Yeah, he coached for Detroit for sure. I remember it. Stargate saying the Oklahoma City coach was thoroughly outclassed by Rick Carlisle. I'm a huge Carlisle fan. And remember, historically, Carlisle was always known as a defensive coach. I don't know if that's exactly true. I mean, wasn't his defensive coach Casey when he won the championship the first time? I always thought of Carlisle as being kind of more an offensive coach. I thought he was the offensive coach and Casey was the defensive coach in the masterminding of the Mavericks and Dirk Nowitzki and them winning that year. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I always thought Casey was the defensive guy for them at that time. I think that Rick Carlisle is just an all-around coach. He's been a coaching and assistant coaching since like the 80s, y'all. It's like the dude finished playing and then he went into assistant coach for the Celtics almost immediately, guys. And he's built quite a resume. If you really look at his coaching career, he's been involved for like 40 years coaching in the NBA. So he really has been around. Let's see. Cool guy saying, I remember Siakam spoke about pacing themselves through the regular season so that they can peak for the playoffs. And they sure did. From January to Oklahoma City, and the Pacers have the best record in the NBA. Yeah, that's the build. You got to have a build. And Darko wants this kind of stuff for us. It's not about who we are when we show up in training camp. It's about the work we build, hopefully while we're healthy and building up to new levels and levels. And by the time you get to April, May, June, you want to be leveling up even more and more to higher and higher levels. That's the important thing. You can get to the playoffs if you rest on your laurels and say, oh, we did it. I feel so good. No, that's the worst kind of energy you can have. You get to the finish line just because you made the playoffs. And that's why a lot of teams get bounced. is that they get happy they just made it. No, no, no. There's a whole lot to it. And you got to go to extra gears each level you get to. And the Pacers may understand this better than the Thunder in some ways. Yeah. So we're saying that if Pascal wins this chip, there will be pressure on Scotty Barnes to become that guy, man. Man, there's already dumb stuff out there. Y'all are telling me that Chev has turned on Scotty. That there's a lot of different people that are already saying all this bullshit. This is part of the byproduct of the Giannis bullshit that I'm pissed about. Is like people are putting a big spotlight on Scott saying you need to light a fire in your ass and do more because look, if you don't do this, we're going to feel like we're wasting our time and we didn't get Giannis when we could have and we bet on you, bro. I get that energy and I understand that. But in some ways, that's not helpful. And this, once again, this whole Giannis thing is conflated and made up. And in some ways, there may be no reality to it. And people need to let it go. And if you're putting more higher aspirations and pressures on Scott because of just bullshit that's coming around in the trade rumors this summer, you're idiots. This is what I say to people like Chev that have turned on Scott and said, oh, if he doesn't do this, he doesn't do that. Scotty's on his own schedule. Scotty's going to get there. Scotty has said personally to us on Twitch, don't doubt me. I'm going to do it. Don't worry. I'll get there. It's just that we need to allow him to be the young man that he is and remember how old he is and just how much potential and stuff is coming down the road. Some ways people just need to be patient. But yeah, people are going to be like this towards Scotty. Stop it. Seriously. He's going to be badass. Y'all just need to trust us and let him get to that point. I believe in Scott. I'm not going to doubt him. He's going to get there. And all this stuff that's going on right now is unnecessary and it's toxic is what I'm saying. G saying right before their comeback, Jefferson said your star player can't be shooting tour dates and expect to win, referring to Halliburton's. Oopsie. Yeah, Richard Jefferson, Dick Jefferson, he's going to put his foot in his mouth. He's an idiot, honestly. He's an idiot. I don't like that he's such a premier announcer that he gets to call game one of the finals. Why did this happen? Like, seriously, why is it that dude? Seriously, we could do so much better than Richard Jefferson being the color guy like that. We could do so much better. The rest of them are okay. Mike Breen is top notch. And who's that? Doris Burke? Doris Burke ain't bad. She ain't bad. But, man, Richard Jefferson, you're annoying, bro. And I wish you weren't such a high-profile announcer in the ESPN, ABC broadcasting team. They could do way better. You could put a better former pro in there doing it. Shit, you should have Vince in there, honestly. Take the former New Jersey Net Jefferson out and put the former New Jersey Net Raptors legend Vince Carter in that broadcast. It would sound way better, honestly. It would sound way, way, way better. Trust me, seriously. And NBC is going to sound real good because of Vince. Watch. He's going to sound real, real good. That's right. Let's keep going. Where am I? Smooth saying, rightly or wrongly, that's the reality, especially if Giannis does get traded and it's not to Toronto. Scotty better be ready. You know what? Once again, I'm going to say, Scotty, don't listen to the noise. You do what you do because you're doing it right. You're working out hard right now. You come back and you're healthy. You make more threes because your hand's not messed up. You start maybe elevate your scoring just a little bit. You guys start winning way more games this year. Everything will take care of itself. In some ways, look, the pressure is already there for NBA players and doing stuff. The noise of the fans and what they think and their bullshit, in some ways, is not as important as we think. Seriously. These guys have so much pressure on them internally on themselves. And it doesn't even have to be added on with all the online talk and all the other expectations and bullshit that's out there. They are not playing for us. They're playing for themselves in some ways. And that's what's the difference between a Ben Simmons and a Scotty Barnes. Is Scotty's going to try and play crazy good for himself. Ben Simmons may take days off. So we need to, if you're going to have expectations for Scott, first of all, if you're gauging them on his points per game, you're going to be upset either way. So just start watching him from an all-around game perspective and just see how he grows as a leader and see the amazing things he does on defense. And that's what you need to point to and look at. And stop just analyzing him by how many points he scores in games. That's ridiculous, man. If that man wanted to average 30 points a game, he could, but it'd be selfish and the team wouldn't play it as well because of it. It'd be too much of a crazy situation in the wrong way is what I'm saying. Yeah. Cool Cat saying, I have to admit, Siakam does not bring his demon determination hard-nosed when he plays against the Raptors. Yeah. Yeah. In some ways, I don't know. He's not pulling punches, but in some ways, maybe he is kind of like doing a solid for his old team and his some of his friends that are on the old team still, like Scotty. There's like, you know what? I'll go a little easier on you guys. I love Toronto. I love Canada. I can see it. I feel that energy when he plays us. Yeah. Wayne saying, morning, Rapid Freaks. Now that you have seen OKC's coach, what's your opinion of him? I think he's a good coach and he's done very well building up the Thunder, but there's levels to this, is what I'm saying. As young as those players are, Dagnall is not a guy who has experience like Carlisle does. And this is part of what's showing here. This is part of what's showing here. You really do kind of need to learn the experience on your own. He could be such a great regular season coach and the Thunder or this and this, but the reality of the finals and the reality of what's going on there, experience matters. And Dagnall is just as green in some ways as his MVP, SGA, to the experience of the finals. And that showed last night. That's it right there. Cool Cat saying with Siakam's success after being traded, lots of Raptors fans are going to put pressure on Scotty this upcoming season. I hope his team prepares him mentally. A whole country on your shoulders is stressful. Yeah, I was just talking about that. In some ways, tune it out. It's not helpful. And being aware of it is not helpful. It's not going to help. It's more likely to hurt. And Scotty, you're doing great, whatever you've been doing the first 4 years of your career anyway. So I'm not worried about this. I think that other people can stress about this, make this a big deal, but I'm not going to, because I trust Scotty. I believe in him, and I know he's going to come through fine this season. In fact, the Raptors are going to have a dramatic turnaround, and all these idiotic noise this summer is going to sound so stupid once we see what the Raptors look like next year. Trust me. So, yeah, I'm not worried about this. Let's not build this up and make this worse than it sounds. Because honestly, in some ways, Scotty may not give a shit about anything that anybody's saying this summer, because he has his eyes on the prize and what he needs to work on. And he's paying attention to what he needs to do, working out and getting better in the summer. And the work will show itself in the end. And that's all that matters. People are going to say dumbass shit and have stupid expectations no matter what. Maybe they're a little bit more buzzed up and a little bit more common in some ways because of this Giannis crap. But honestly, it's not any different than he's felt probably since he was a little kid. There's always been a pressure around these high level athletes in certain ways, and they get used to it to a degree. At a certain point, they get used to it to a degree. So let's see. Stargate saying, Smooth, stop it, please. Don't start that Chev narrative. It doesn't put any pressure on Scotty whatsoever. They're at completely different times in their respective careers. Pascal has way more experience. Yeah, comparison stuff and I don't like people threatening Scotty. Like, who the fuck are you? You're gonna threaten Scott. If you don't do this next year or this, Scotty, who the fuck are you to talk to Scotty Barnes like that? That's what I would say. Like, who the fuck are you to really say your expectations of this? Can Scotty come to your work and tell you what he expects from you at your job and what you got going on? Okay, so shut the fuck up. Because I'd love to come down to your job with Scotty, especially when you're in a trade. If you're a Paisano plumber, like our good friend Nameless, maybe Scotty and I come down to the job site and say, yeah, I learned about this in trade school with Jack Armstrong. And I'm going to tell you right now, Nameless, you better do that socket wrench a little bit better. And you better put that coupling to the connector and the flange, the better in the right order. I'm watching you. I have high expectations for you this year, Nameless. Who the fuck are you to come and do that? Seriously. And if you want to do this, go follow Ben Simmons. How about that? Go follow some deadwood player and get your expectations on them. Not a young man who's working hard and busting his ass and going to carry our team in the future. Seriously. You save that energy for somebody else. Scotty Barnes does not deserve that kind of energy. I'm with Stargate on this. And it's true. If Chev is having an influence to get Smooth to come in here and espouse some of the things he's saying on his channel, that's a wrong message, Chev. NBA Chev, how dare you? You're wrong, man. You're wrong. Trevor's saying Rick Carlisle take down OKC super team with one veteran superstar. I don't like them saying that. Well, is it Siakam? Is it one veteran superstar? I don't know. There's two superstars on that team. And I would say they're kind of both veterans. But if you're going to say one veteran superstar, you mean Siakam. All NBA, all-star, NBA champion Siakam, and Rick Mastermind with a master plan. Mastermind. That's right. There you go. Kaz is here. Good morning, Lex and the crew. Good morning, Trekker Kaz. Smooth saying at Stargate, I know what you're saying. However, I'm not a Scotty. I respect this game, and I see what can be. I'm just saying that to see Siakam's success and where he is, I hope it's a motivation for him. Well, he's watching the playoffs. We know Scotty's probably watching the playoffs, and he's probably very interested to see how Siakam does. He probably loves the matchup with SGA and against Andrew and Halliburton and Siakam. Let's not get it twisted. Scotty's a student of the game. He's been watching games for a long, long time, and man, I want y'all to just lay off of him. Let's not be a part of our fan nation that engages in this kind of discourse or even is over analyzing him under the magnifying glass, because he honestly doesn't deserve it. He's been fantastic his whole career, and he continues to be fantastic. And people that argue with me, say, no, he's been spinning his wheels. He's not that good. You're not paying it close enough attention. I'll say that right now. You're telling me something. It's like I asked somebody, what's your opinion of Jakob Poeltl? And if it's negative, all right, I know enough that you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And the other thing is, if somebody starts telling me, oh, Scotty's been spinning his wheels for a couple years, he hasn't done anything to get better, I know you're not fucking knowing what you're talking about either. Because you can't tell me Scotty hasn't improved each and every year in different departments. And last year he had a huge leap because he showed a dominance in the low post that if he really wants to use that anytime, he can do it. And then the other stuff with team defense and being a more vocal leader was absolutely crucial to his growth this year. And if you don't want to pay attention to those growing areas and just say, oh, he stayed in the same place, well, I can't tell you how to think, but I'll tell you right now, you're casual with that take, is what I'm saying. You're not paying close enough attention. You got to get under the hood and really look at the engine if you really want to understand what Scotty's done to progress as a player in his career to this point. So, yeah, I in some ways, I'm like, Scotty's off limits. People coming at Scotty, they need to shut the fuck up and stop putting in your trades, too, because we're building a team around him. Masai said he is on our team. And why would we trade our franchise player right now? Only if Masai sees it's the right move. Then I'll get behind it. But otherwise, I am not for trading Scott in any kind of way, guys. Any kind of way. That's what I'm saying. I'm just saying, yeah. You agree with that take, Stargate? Yeah. G saying it might actually put pressure on Ingram a bit because he was the key piece in the trade. I would hope, though, fans understand experience, roster build, time together, etc., and factors in business. I would say this. Why are fans putting pressure on our own team? Seriously, don't you guys see that this is the Achilles heel of the New York Knicks, of the Maple Leafs? Why would we act toxically like other fan nations, seeing how they shoot themselves in the foot, put too much pressure on their team? We don't need to be the source of pressure for the Raptors. We need to unconditionally love them and support them and root for them like fans do. I don't get this. Why are we the ones that they have to answer to? No, that's not what this is. Too many times people in Toronto, sports fans, are like, we are earned something or we're owed something. Bullshit. You're fans. You're supposed to go to games and get entertainment. And if the team wins, you should be very happy. But honestly, none of this stuff is owed. And I think it's the Leafs nation with their thinking they owed Stanley Cups. Well, if you're owed that, why have you been paid that? Obviously, the basketball gods or the hockey gods have not shined on you to allow that to happen. And in some ways, this unnecessary Toronto Maple Leaf fan expectation bullshit in Raptors nation, it's not welcome as far as I'm concerned. Because that kind of toxic kind of behavior by fan nation is not helpful to getting to the next Larry O'Brien. So all you fans that have expectations for the team and Scott and all this kind of shelve your shit. They're going to go to the playoffs next year. I do expect that. But if I expect that and they get derailed for whatever reason, I'm not going to come down on them like a ton of bricks and get mad at them. I'm going to love them unconditionally and say, y'all, this isn't our year. We're going to get it back together because y'all got hurt. Something like that. Knock on wood, they do not. They have a healthy year, and they go and they get a home court advantage in the playoffs as a playoff team. Because I can expect that, but if it doesn't happen, well, do I get some retribution for that? Should I get some retribution? What is the retribution for? Why? For your own selfish ego and your own damn self? Who cares? The team is what you need to root for no matter what, wins or losses. If they get 30 wins, I'm happy. If they get 40, I'm ecstatic. They get 50, let's go. You know what I'm saying? But you got to root for your team as a fan and stop acting like you're their employer or like you're their manager or your boss. I expect you to be at work on time, young Scotty. What are you doing? Okay, I'm sorry, employer fan. You know, what the fuck are you to tell Scotty what he should be doing, expectations and shit like that? Man, that man has his own expectations. And those are the ones that matter. Maybe Masai's, maybe Darko's. Those are the expectations that matter. not Joe Blow in the Raptors Nation who's just at his house saying, I expect Scotty to do this or do that. Who the fuck are you, bro? Is what I'm saying to Chev and other people like that right now. Who the fuck are you to expect things from Scotty? Scotty's coming and he's doing it, but he's on his own schedule and he has his own personal expectations he has to live up to, not yours. That's what I'm going to say to that right there. Yeah. Yeah. And I think you might be right. The pressure on Ingram's weird, and we'll see how much he cares or not. The pressure is to play and be healthy. And let's just see where Ingram is with that next year. That's right. Smooth saying, I'm more RJ Barrett than Scotty Barnes. I make no secret of that. Well, why do we have to pick? Why can't we just like our guys and not have favorites and stuff like that? You know, I hate that there's like a hierarchy, and it's like, why do fans feel like they need to pick and choose and then they're anti the other person? This was so toxic with Fred and Scott that one year. It's like, why do you have to pick between Freddie and Scotty? Why can't you just like both of them? They're both on the Raptors. Oh, no, because he's doing this to Scotty and this. I'm like, y'all are so full of shit. Why are you choosing? Why are you choosing? I love RJ and Scotty, and we don't have to be partial to either one of them. Let's just root for our team. How about that? Let's just be happy we have a lot of talent, because that action and being like, oh, well, I'm more a Barrett guy over Barnes, that's not conducive to building and stacking more and more talent on our team. And when Kyrie Irving shows up as a free agent this summer and he's just on our team added, well, is that just too much talent? Are we going to start being, I like Emmanuel over Irving? Oh, no, we got to pit them against each other. That's the wrong action. That's the wrong mentality. You want to have a most talented, best team you can have. You can't have this mentality of pitting one person against the other and choosing who's one the more you like more. No, we want everybody, and we're happy to have everybody, and stop picking favorites is what I'm saying. Now, if you really want me to choose a hierarchy of who I'd like to be traded and not traded, well, I don't really want to get into that. That's an unhealthy exercise too. But I give a lot of credit to RJ being a hometown guy. I don't want to trade him. But I also give a lot of credit to Scotty being a franchise player, and I don't want to trade him either. Those are probably the two most Raptors that I do not want traded anywhere, is Barnes and Barrett. The other guys, in some ways, they're on the hierarchy where I may be a little bit able to talk to about moving the other guys. But those two in particular, they're like no trade to me, RJ and Scott. And there's no reason why we got to treat either one like, because there's been a lot of debate. Who's the real leader of the team? Well, RJ's the leading scorer, but Scotty's the franchise player. I don't know. Why do we have to choose? Why do we have to delineate this? Why can't we just have a team? That's what I would say to this. That's what I'm saying. Cool Cat's saying, I hope Raptors fan base stop pressuring our players negatively. It's such an emotional wreck. It breaks my heart every time Siakam said he had ups and downs throughout his career. Yeah, and we have had wreckage in our past with things like the bubble with Siakam, with Kyle Lowry in game 1 against Orlando in our championship run. It's that kind of stuff that I hate. It's annoying, man, because it's honestly unnecessary, and it can mess with guys' mentality. It's like, do y'all want to help our guys get back on track and make their shots? Well, build them up, bolster them like Coach Darko does. Darko, it tells them they're superheroes and they can do whatever they want. He builds their confidence up and they have better outcomes. The fans understood this and were more supportive in those kind of ways. We probably have the same thing. I could actually argue that two teams in the finals, their fan nations are very supportive and unconditionally loving towards their teams. And that's part of why they beget such success, because Indiana fans are way more humble and nice to their team and understanding. And in some ways, the climb and the build of their franchise is helpful because their nation is not that toxic. And Oklahoma City Thunder, well, it's small town people that are down home and nice. There's probably a lot less toxicity in their fan nation also. And because they're so successful, it's real easy to be very positive about their team. So I would want to do a study on the correlation between toxic fan nations and how much they really get in the way of their teams doing well. LA Lakers and New York Knicks and Toronto Maple Leafs. So I just say, how do we want to do this, Raptors fans? Do you want to help us towards the second Larry O'Brien, or do you want to hinder us? Because the action that some of y'all are doing is hindering us, even if it's just a little small drop in the ocean of bullshit online. I'm just saying. That's what I'm saying right there. Boom goes the dynamite. Let's go. All right, let's see. Kaz is saying, I've never seen motivation problems with Scotty, but that's just me. Yeah, I don't get it. I'm not worried about this. Scotty's going to do it, and he's going to do it right. In some ways, y'all just need to let him do it. Let's not bring this Chev energy in here, Smooth, with all due respect. Let's see. Uh, Stargate saying, I'm not a fan of any one player. I'm a fan of teams. And Scotty fits this current Raptors team, whether you like him or not. One player does not win championships. We're seeing that now, real time now. And Scotty's going to be a championship player. He's going to add up the championships faster than guys like Devin Booker, because in some ways they're just scorers. Scotty's all kinds of stuff for your team, and he can fill in whatever you need in certain ways. And he's an above average defender also on top of that. And he really does have a leadership and energy and athleticism that is very helpful to your team. And I think that people, if you don't lose sight of all that, is what I'm trying to say to people right now. Yeah. Kaloy saying Pacers got that magic. Yeah, they got that clutch. Underdog bettors eating good today. Yeah. In some ways, I don't know if that was a manipulation. Let the Pacers win by 1 so that the betting is a certain lucrativeness for certain people, especially with a highly favored Thunder going into the series, game 1. Yeah, Kaloy hit the nail on the head. If somebody's knowing this, if there's any insidiousness as far as planning the outcome for certain people to get certain paydays, David Guthrie, what are you doing out there, man? That's what I'm wondering. Smooth saying, in some ways, Scotty getting drafted by the Raptors worked in reverse. The Raptors had a vet-laden team around him, and slowly things changed. Yes, we had to change the timeline in some ways, but it's a weird thing. I don't think it's Scotty necessarily that changed everything. Once again, our Raptor champions were jaded, and they were in a bad place because they'd gone to the top and they'd fallen so far down. And to get the gumption to get going again and start from the trenches of where the Raptors were in Tampa and the losing seasons, it's really hard to get motivated, especially when you feel like you're not getting anywhere. And you can start drowning in kind of misery and sadness because it's just not getting right. And you remember what it felt like when everything was right. So once again, revisionist people that want to say, why don't we have Siakam, Anunoby, and Van Vliet on our team anymore? They were jaded. They hit the lows of lows after being at the highest of highs, and they needed to change the scenery because getting out of the mud mentally from the bottom after you've been like that in that way is so hard. And in some ways, the change of scenery is exactly what they needed, and we needed also for our team as far as replenishing youthful exuberance that's ready and not jaded from really bad stuff happening to the team in the last few years. So I wish people would understand this, that this is part of it. The enthusiasm and the newness for Scott, even through all the confusion of the last couple of years of Nick coaching, has gone through that. But Pascal had already been worn down and beaten down mentally by the failures in the bubble and then Tampa. So I wish people would understand this from a humanistic, like real way, why these guys needed to move and stop like putting over and over again. Why didn't we keep them? Why didn't we invest in them? Why didn't we do this? Why didn't we do that? Well, were you paying close enough attention the last couple of years to see just how depressed Siakam was and how it was hard for him to get going and enthusiasm on the Raptors in the right way, in the right direction? Change of scenery was absolutely necessary. And that's just a part of it right there. That's just the part of it right there. Stargate saying, I meant 6'11 Turner, not Siakam. My bad, my error. I'm not totally sure which comment we're talking about. G saying, I agree. Oklahoma City lacks experience and could see it last. I could see it last night. Pacers were composed even with turnovers and being down. That's the crazy thing too. Like a lesser team that isn't kind of organized and confident in themselves would have folded from just like, in some ways Oklahoma City was dominating them. Seriously. They dominated the lead the whole entire game until the very end. So it's a very like astute and confident team that's able to do what the Pacers did last night. Seriously, it's a very, very confident team to be able to do that. Smooth saying, him being the man last year, teams keying on him so that Brandon trade is a godsend. Once again, who are you talking about? Scotty or is RJ? I'm not totally sure. Kaloy saying Holly got the balls of steel. That's for sure. Well, he's a good clutch shooter. That's for sure. And you know what? That wasn't even that hard of a shot. That's crazy. They let him get too much daylight, and it wasn't a total 3. It was within. And that's an easy shot for Halliburton. So, like, he gets that shot, he's going to make it 8 out of 10 times with that much daylight and that distance. So, yeah, that's it right there. Let's see. Kareem saying, OKC may be the better team on paper and record-wise, but the Pacers are effing battle-tested. Pacers have been into people's homes and just straight up disrespecting their fan base, and Indy never sold out. I respect that, honestly. I like how they've been shaking the home teams in these arenas, especially Cleveland and New York, the way they shook them with beating them on their home court. Woo, that's always fun. That feels powerful. That builds confidence right there. That if you can go into other people's arenas and beat their ass, that really builds confidence. And well, last night built some confidence more for the Pacers. That's right. UC's here. Good to see UC. I may not be a Pacers fan, but I'm rooting for them solely because of P skills. Yeah, I can root for either team. Either team wins, I'll be happy. In some ways, though, I am rooting for the Pacers more than the Thunder because I root for underdogs. And in this matchup, the Indiana Pacers are the underdog. So in some ways, I'm kind of like, yeah, Pacers, let's go, underdog Pacers. Win game 1 by 1. Yeah, let's go. Wayne's saying OKC's coach went small, which means Pascal becomes the tallest player getting all the rebounds. Yeah. Pacers stole this one, and this makes the finals exciting. Totally agree with you, Lex, on Hartenstein. Yeah, I don't get it. I was like, when I saw that change, I was like, what are they doing? This is not a good decision. This is not a good decision at all. And well, in the end, it mattered in some ways. It really did. Yeah, that's true. Siakam, maybe with the longest arm reach. I mean, Chet's the long arm reach too. I mean, Chet should have the longest wingspan and be the tallest player. But in some ways, he doesn't play like it. Does he? No, he doesn't. Cloy saying, I don't know, Lex. Pacers have been doing this from the first round and second round. This isn't a fluke anymore. I know. That's why I say we got a real series. And this could be a 7-game series by the end of it. And Adam Silver may be licking his chops and saying, man, we got a fantastic finals because it's back and forth, blow to blow. And we'll have to see. The Pacers, if they win the second game in Oklahoma City, that's a crazy message. And Thunder people will be really, really in bad place. But if there's anybody who can come back from losing 2 at home and still win the series somehow, some way, the Thunder might be able to do that still. So nothing to predict here exactly. This NBA playoffs have been fantastic for that exactly reason. You can't predict this shit. Coolcat saying OKC Chet needs to watch Boucher to understand how to be a Slender Man wizard. I won't disagree with this. He needs to go to Mandarin. In fact, let's do the straight goods on Canadian goods. We're talking about Mandarin, y'all. And this is where Chet Holmgren needs to go. It's a Canadian Chinese buffet restaurant. It's a chain. It was founded in Brampton, y'all, in 1979. There's 30 locations across Ontario, in Toronto, London, Ottawa, Kingston, and Windsor. You guys know Mandarin. It's a crazy buffet, and we need to lock Chet Holmgren up in there so he can get some weight on him. You stay in there for like 4 hours, and you don't stop eating crab legs, Chet Holmgren, until you weigh 200 pounds. I'm sorry, man. You're like 7 foot something, and you weigh like 185 pounds. You need more weight, and we need you to do this. So you're going to Mandarin, a great Canadian restaurant. As part of their 30th anniversary, Mandarin invited all of Canadian citizens to a free buffet meal. Do y'all remember that? In 2014. And then they repeated it on their 40th anniversary in 2019 also. So yeah, Mandarin is an icon in Canada restaurants. Mandarin is a place where you take people for special occasions. And yeah, that buffet is awesome. And Chet Holmgren needs it bad. So straight goods on Canadian goods, go to Mandarin Buffet. That's right. Get bulked up. Eat a lot of crab legs. That's what I say. It's just straight goods on Canadian goods. We had to do Mandarin, and that's for Chet right there. That's for Chet. I mean, being Slender Man Wizard. That's right. That's right. Fiercey's here. Good morning, fam, and happy Friday. OKC didn't maintain their defensive effort in the second half. I wasn't too shocked, as that's what the Pacers do, come from behind. Yeah. It was lining up just like that. And I was watching it with my dad. And I was like, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they hang around and they try and strike at the end. And they try and get it right at the end. And exactly right like that on the script. The Pacers hang around and they kind of play possum. And then boom, they rise up at the end with that Mission Impossible music going. And then right at the end, Halliburton hits it and it goes, da-da! It's just like that. Cool Cat saying Coach Carlisle's principles is all on random play. That way defense don't get set and Pacers players can choose the random chaos based on the team principles. You know, that's very similar to ours. In some ways, the Pacers are mirroring like Darko's schemes in some ways. I don't know where Carlisle started doing that more as he's been coaching the Pacers. I wonder if there's any influence from Coach Darko and his offense and the way he's doing it, because it's the same philosophy. It's the same philosophy as us. It's like don't let You guys don't direct the offense. Let the defense of the other team direct your offense. And you go at their weakness and you look at what they offer you and you go to that person. And then where the ball lands, the Plinko board is where they take the shot. And that's exactly right. And that's one of the reasons why I think the Raptors will be very successful with their system, because it's similar to the Pacers. It doesn't have a predictability to it. And, this is very smart for NBA coaches right now. In some ways, we've seen the the Knicks had a weakness with Jalen Brunson being very much the focal point. Well, they're going right at Jalen Brunson and stymieing him and Cat. That really cuts the legs off of the Knicks for being able to go the way they want to. Now, if you have an offense with a lot of diverse weapons like the Pacers and the Raptors do, you keep them guessing, and in some ways it's a huge strength. So I will say what you're describing, the Raptors have also on their team currently with their roster. When we're healthy, we're going to see it with Brandon Ingram and RJ Barrett and Scotty and Emmanuel. So yeah, they don't know who to guard exactly. And if you read the defense really well, like Halliburton and Nebhard and Siakam do, you can really move the ball to the right place and have some real success because you keep them guessing. And that's awesome. I wonder how much Rick was like, I'm going to cheat off you a little bit, Darko, because I don't know if the Pacers have been doing this the whole time Rick's been the coach. I feel like this is something they developed more into this year than other years, because they may have really doted on Halliburton taking a lot of shots in the past years, right? But now it's a little bit more egalitarian with Siakam around the way they do it. Let's see. Cool Cat saying Hallie would be rough in games. However, when closing time, his cojones genes pump up and it's clutch time. Yeah, I have to say he does have clutch factor. He's shown it very regularly. It's like Robert Ory days. He would be a non-factor throughout the game, but always clutch shots in the seconds of the game. Yeah. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. You need that role on your team. Kaloy saying, I can see a path where Nebhard can be the finals MVP. Yeah. You know what? I can see that too, but I know the way they're marketing is still, and they are like, in some ways there's backlash over Siakam becoming finals MVP of the Eastern Conference. Some people don't like it, and they're dissing and ignoring Siakam even harder because he got that accolade. And they are over promoting Halliburton even harder because of that, because they really want to ensconce that this is the number one guy for the Pacers. Don't get it twisted, even because that guy got MVP last round. And in some ways, they're overdoing this. But this is funny. I mean, I could see this happening in some ways, but Nebhard has to have huge monster scoring games. And in some ways, Halliburton has to be not totally having those for that to happen, because he's not even really in the eyes of the Pacers, the number one or two guy, right? He may be even like maybe the fourth guy in some ways, third or fourth guy. So he'd have to rise up and really outshine the other two guys for this to happen, as far as what you're saying, Kaloy. Stargate saying yes. And as much as I can't stand Halliburton and think he's a jerk, he certainly has onions, babies, onions by a bushel. Chuck Swirsky. Yeah. And I like that he didn't gloat after this one. He didn't do any choking. He didn't do anything weird. He just celebrated the jumping up and down. And that's better. That's a better action. In some ways, be a good winner and don't be cocky, and we'll like you more. Because honestly, you have a lot of skills that are badass. And I want to like you. But if you get too cocky, it'll turn people off and be like, yeah, I don't like that guy. I don't like that guy. I saw the picture of John Halliburton hanging out with SGA's dad. That's good that we've had the Peace Summit and the fathers of the stars are meeting, and they're cool. They're probably birds of a feather a little bit in some ways. They just have undying love for their fantastic sons that are top-notch NBA players, and they have a lot in common. So G saying, I'm all about letting players play with instinct, and set plays all the time become predictable and allows other teams to set up the defense. Messi talks about this a lot on soccer. Cool. Yeah, I mean, I think that's why when Masai and Bobby said Darko's system is sustainable for the future, that's what he means, is that Darko's system can have so many variances. You know, he has a phone book full of plays offensively that he can bring out over time and keep people guessing in all kinds of different ways. And the way he's implementing his offensive system over time, he will be able to tinker with it and add new wrinkles and do that kind of stuff. So I'm really happy with the philosophies of Darko on offense, because it's different. It's not like what a lot of people in the NBA did in 2010s. They really focused on a number one guy and a second guy as a secondary and really fed the ball through your go-to guys. But what we're seeing is a trend in the excellence of the Pacers and how they do it egalitarian wise. And the Raptors and what they've been building is similar to that. So that bodes well for the Raptors' future success, seeing the success of the Pacers right now with that kind of mentality. And especially since the Pacers have tested it against teams like the Knicks and now the Thunder and the Cavs, and it worked. It beat like teams that were more superstar studded like the Cavs and the Knicks. And we'll see if it's good enough to beat the Thunder too. We'll see. Yeah, this is really good philosophy, and I think it's the cutting edge of the NBA right now. And that other teams that aren't getting with team philosophy and egalitarian kind of offensive systems, they're going to be left behind by teams like the Raptors and the Pacers going forward. And it's like, well, the Pacers, they're in the finals. How did they get there? Well, part of it is what I just described. That's why they're there. That's why they're there. Right there. Boom goes a dynamite. Monique is here. Good morning, Raptor Freak crew. Good morning to superfan Monique Lawrence. Tomorrow we'll be at the NBA restaurant, 5:30 p.m. on the Queen's Key for Monique's birthday party. I hope y'all will join us. It's an open invite to anybody in the Raptor Freak family. If you watch the channel, if you don't ever talk in here, if you live in the neighborhood, if you just want to come by, just say, hey, I came because I saw this was going on the Raptor Freak channel and I watch y'all and I really enjoy your show and I wanted to come down and meet Lex and Mo and just celebrate her birthday with her. So tomorrow we're going to be at the NBA restaurant. I'll be there, and we're going to be showering Monique with birthday love at Queen's Key, 5:30 p.m., Toronto, Ontario, Canada, right down on Lake Ontario at the NBA restaurant, the first ever NBA restaurant in the history of the NBA. Come on down and enjoy the festivities with Mo and I. It's going to be awesome. So much fun. Lots of interesting people will be there. I'm telling you, in some ways, it's a little bit of a networking event. You might meet some people. It's very interesting to meet. Cool Cat saying, I love Lindsey Dunn and Kayla Gray. It's like they are my girls on girl crush for how they stand out and hold their own in media in of men's sports. Yeah, they're both very professional and pretty good at their jobs. Definitely, yeah. And Savannah too. I like Savannah also. But yeah. I mean, well, I'll give kudos. Lindsey Dunn got her Share the Love Club not that long ago, honestly. We're going to do the Share the Love Club tomorrow. Monique has requested for her day James Johnson. So we'll be sharing the love for former Raptor James Johnson, current Indiana Pacer, tomorrow on the stream. We'll be doing, that's the request of Superfan Mo, that she wanted to share the love for James Johnson. So we're going to do that tomorrow at 9:30. I hope you'll tune in. Stargate saying, well, we are going to see how good a coach Mark Dagnall really is. And if he can make the appropriate adjustments for team success next game, yeah, I think he will. I think he's a very high-level coach. In some ways, we'll see. This will test his mettle for sure. And, well, the game, like I said, it could very well be a blowout for the Thunder in game 2. That's kind of been the pattern in some ways in this playoff. Like, think about what the Thunder went through with Denver. There were a couple games where they lost to the Nuggets, and then we're kind of and then they came back and kind of routed them in the next game. So I feel like that energy's coming. And a lot of it does emanate from Hamilton's Gilgeous-Alexander. That he in some ways, he's embarrassed because they lost by 1 point. He hates losing. And well, he's going to come back with some Michael Jordan fierceness, like competitiveness. And I fully expect that. Like, I could see SGA dropping 40 to 50 points in the next game, because he's that mad about losing game 1. Smooth saying, maybe the adjustment is he puts Isaiah back in the starting lineup. Smooth saying, yeah, I remember that game. It was fun. That was fun. Which game? What did you talk about? Oh, man, you guys. Cool Cat saying, Pacers pressured SGA so much that he was inefficient in his shooting. 38 points on 30 attempts and not having the shooting spread around the team. Yeah, SGA did miss a lot of shots he normally would have made. They were good shots. They just didn't go in. So some of this stuff where the ball would roll off the rim. Yeah. And you know what? In some ways, Pacers were lucky he was missing some of those shots because he's money on most of them. So in some ways, that was part of the help to win the 1 point win. Is the SGA was not on with his shot. Honestly, if you really think about it yesterday, he was not on with his shot. He was not. That's right. That's right. Let's see. Melvin's here. Good to see Milbester. It's the Knicks freak. And let's see what he's saying here. Thunder lost because of Chet and Hartenstein. Not enough defense from the two of them in the fourth, and they let the Pacers come back down 10. ESPN mentioned game 1 NBA Finals winners win the finals 71% of the time. That's an interesting stat, and that's true. The team that wins the first game, like the Raptors did against the Warriors in 2019, 71% of the time they win. That's good facts, Milbester. And well, the Thunder may want to change that and want to be in the 29% of the other side. Fiercely saying, regarding the Rookie of the Year debate that occurred 2 years ago, I believe Wemby would have been more impactful than Chet in this series. Yeah, the Rookie of the Year, that was weird. Chet, in some ways, not being available for his first year, he missed out on a real Rookie of the Year he probably would have gotten. But then he was up against Victor, and he wasn't going to win that, so he missed out on Rookie of the Year. It is what it is. I think that you're right. I think in some ways Victor is further along than Chet. In some ways, he is. In some ways, he is. But they have similar problems still. They still have similar problems. I'm more willing to get behind Victor and say that he's going to have a better time getting into his NBA career right with physicality, because he does seem like he's putting more strength on him, even if he seems so lanky. There is actually muscle tone on Victor Wembanyama, and I know he does yoga extensively, and he has really good, strong flexibility. In some ways, he's a lot stronger and durable than Chet. Because Chet, man, I don't even think he's trying, bro. Like, why are his arms like this? I'm one to say it because I had arms like him for the longest time too. And maybe that's why I'm hard on him, because I was a super skinny guy that couldn't put any weight on myself. And that's why you need to go to Mandarin, bro. Seriously. And I'm not trying to body shame this guy. I'm trying to help him with his NBA career. Trust me. He needs it. He needs something on him. I'm just saying something. Milbester saying, but that stat is kind of meaningless because the Lakers won game 1 of 91 finals versus the Bulls and Michael Jordan, but then they got swept the next 4 games to win their first title. It didn't mean much. Well, that's on the other side of the stats, Milbester. 71% is not 100% of the time, is it? Well, Jordan made sure of that there, didn't he? Yeah. Trevor saying ESPN looks like they go on the streets corner to or the sign. Do you need help? A job? They hired those twins who are just dumb who play basketball. Who are you talking about? I don't even know what you're talking about. I didn't pay attention to this, obviously. There's some twins. Who are these twins? I don't know what you're talking about, Trevor. Milbester saying going down 2-0 is worse than down 1-0. Oh, yeah, of course. Okay. And water is wet. Fiercely saying Wemby has both offensive and defensive presence. Yeah, I think that Chet should have both himself, but if you know how to utilize his skinniness against him, he can be neutralized and ineffective. And that's what the Pacers did a really good job last night of. Mo's saying, enjoy the deep dive of the interviews, Lex. Agree with this series with the Raptors versus Bulls 72 wins. That was an awesome clip. And Mo, I hope that the Raptors official are going to come out with these kind of clips on past NBA Raptors games more. Like, I want them to come out with ones that I forgot about, like ones from John Wallace era or stuff from like the post Vince era that was with, like, Bosch, stuff like that. I want to see these hidden gems of fantastic games that maybe some Raptors fans have forgotten about, and let's reminisce about them and get that treatment about a half an hour. Instead, it's not like Open Gym, but it's like this is a game in Raptors history, and we're going to treat it like with in-depth coverage. It's fantastic, Mo. I loved it. It's really, really good. Stargate saying, I know everybody is all being happy for Pascal because of his previous Raptor connection, but the person I'm so happy for is Miles Turner. He has been through it with this team and has remained loyal. Yeah, I'm totally with you on this. I like Miles Turner a lot. I think that he's old school in the fact that he's played for one team for a decade now. That is so rare in the NBA that a player will end up being on a team for his whole career and not get traded like this. And the fact that he didn't get traded after so many trade rumors is awesome. And the fact he's gotten to this side of things on the other side and seeing this level of success with the Pacers after going through the grind for so long, I'm with you on this. I can feel happiness for Siakam and all the glory he's bringing, but also I can feel happiness for Miles Turner in his long suffering career as a Pacer, getting to these heights at this point. For sure. I'm with you on this, man. I'm with you. Neil's here. Good to see Blackhawk. Dagnall blinked first and they lost. Great game. Both teams did well. SGA was SGA. Just needs supporting cast to step up. Pacers have a lot of cleanup to do, have a lot to clean up too. Game 2 will be fire. I think you're right. And, SGA got the high score for the game. On the other side, 38 points. He can't do it all himself. But yeah, 14 to 30 shooting is not 50% shooting. He did take a huge amount of shots. Lou Getz was fantastic with the 15 points, all on threes. Jalen Williams had his spots here and there. And then off the bench, Caruso being a bulldog and doing stuff. But overall, they didn't get enough points production. And, the Thunder were a team that were scoring 130 like it was nothing. I think that we need to give a lot of credit to the Pacers slowing down that Thunder offense and not allowing them to just go in the stratosphere with like 30-point quarters over and over again, 30, 40-point quarters. They kind of contain them on the down low. We got to give credit to the Pacers defense. They contained the Thunder a lot better than most teams did this season. And that's a real accomplishment. Trust me. Yeah. So happy for him. So happy. Yeah. Kaloy saying this was an amazing game. Pacers got that strong mentality. OKC was trying to blow them out. Collectively, the Pacers are mentally strong. If they were trying to blow them out, they were not. They were failing. And that's crazy because I know they were trying to get more on them and get way ahead of them. But the Pacers always stuck close and they never got too ahead of them. And that's amazing, honestly, because the Thunder really know how to press the gas offensively, and they didn't do it. They didn't do it. It's really weird, man. It's really, really weird. Stargate's saying, you're right, Lex. Carlisle's an all-around coach. Yeah, I don't remember. Maybe you're right. Earlier in his coaching career, maybe he was more known as a defensive coach. You might have been right. And that's just, I don't remember. Like, because he was an assistant coach for the longest time. And then he became the head coach right around when he took the job in Dallas. That was kind of around the near first time he was a head coach. He's been steadily a head coach since for about almost 20 years now. But man, it may be he was initially a defensive specialist as an assistant coach in his early coach before he was a head coach. I think you were right. I think you are right. He was a defensive specialist at some point. Kaloy saying this was a difference between the Pacers and the Wolves. Pacers don't get bothered by double-digit leads. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they're not shook, and they're confident still, eerily confident, even though they're losing. It's really weird. Kaloy saying Siakam winning should not have no bearing with Barnes. Siakam did not turn into Kawhi out there. It was a collective effort by the Pacers. Yeah, I don't understand that. Siakam is a whole different other person. Why are we talking about Scotty when it comes to Pascal? Seriously. It's like Raptors fans are upset. They're like, we would have had Pascal still if it wasn't for Scotty. And they're like making equations in their head like that. That is not an equation. You can't say that. That's so stupid. And once again, these are independent people in their own lives doing different things in different places. And in some ways, what happens with Siakam, honestly, has nothing to do with Barnes. Is exactly right. Exactly right. Most saying, I just watched the highlights of the game, not the actual game. I'm surprised how viral Tyrese's shot went. Well, it was a very good shot, and it should go viral. It's a game winner. It should. And people are watching it because they want to see what he did right at the end. It's a very simple shot, not very hard. Honestly, it wasn't a very hard shot for him to make, which is very interesting. Blackhawks saying, actually, Pascal is playing so much more mature than when he got his first championship. His moves are reflecting his experience. Mid-range and three-pointers are spot on, and he's a menace in the paint. Well, let me describe this about Siakam. You know, he was the young guy on our championship team, and in some ways, he was just effervescence, fresh breath of fresh air as far as like somebody that was unknown. And, you know, Draymond Green was not knowing how to stop him, as he said. And we had other guys on that team who were more known quantities like Kawhi, Mark, Serge, and Kyle. And in some ways, what we could say is Siakam is channeling maybe partly the essence of Marc Gasol, Kyle Lowry, Serge Ibaka through his body right now. And like all some of this stuff, like, well, what would Mark do to hedge the defense in this way for the team defense? Maybe I'll do it for the Pacers in this instance. So there's probably a little bit of each of the Spirit Raptors in him from the championship year that he's drawing from. Like, this is what Kyle's tenacity would call for in this situation, in this final situation. This is what Kawhi would do. This is what Serge would do as far as like hedging or playing this on defense. I got to be Serge because Serge is not here at this point. So I'm going to be a little bit like Ibaka in what I'm doing for the Pacers right now. I feel like there's a little bit of that going on with him. And that's part of the maturity and the knowledge. It's like, who are my vets before? I'm the vet now. How can I be more like the guys that I stood with in Toronto when we won the championship then? Because I need to be those guys for our young guys in the Pacers right now. You know, I'm thinking that, you know, there were some things he does on defense right now that are very Serge-esque right now. Seriously. There's some of this like kind of help defense and stuff that he's coming to help the Pacers with that it looks like Ibaka from like 6 years ago. Seriously. I see it. Stargate saying, yes, this whole over criticism of Scotty is ridiculous, especially at this very early juncture. Yeah, what did he do? He didn't do anything wrong. And these fans who are falling for these media-driven anti-Scotty Jedi mind tricks, I have no patience for. Thank you, Lex. Leave Scotty alone. That's right. I'll do that little weird Britney guy. Leave Scotty alone. I'll be a meme. I mean, seriously, come on now. Are y'all Raptors fans? Do you want good things for the team? Well, you should want good things for Scott Wayne Barnes. Seriously, and stop being such toxic shitheads is what I'm saying right now. Stop it. Stop it. Most saying, see some of you guys tomorrow at the party. That's right. I hope you guys come. We'll hopefully see Cool Cat. Maybe we'll see Kareem. Anybody can come down there and don't, even if you didn't RSVP, just show up out of the blue. We'd be happy to see you. That's what I'm saying. We'll pull up an extra chair. That's right. Isaac Campbell's saying happy birthday. Happy Friday to Mo. That's right. Her birthday will be next week. I believe her birthday is on Tuesday, guys, on the 10th. But yeah, Mo's birthday party is tomorrow at the NBA restaurant. We'll be there. That's right. Kaloy's saying those who are down on Barnes right now are not watching what is happening right now. Pacers and OKC are doing it by committee. The team needs to rise all together. It's up to Darko. He's a great centerpiece as an unselfish player to build a team around. Once again, I'll say it. He's like a Magic. He's like a Jason Kidd. He'll make everybody else better without having to take huge slices of the pie in scoring himself. And that's why you can have Brandon Ingram, RJ Barrett, and Emmanuel quickly around him, and they'll get theirs because Scotty is that kind of team leader because in some ways he's selfless. And he's rare, and that will help the Raptors win sooner than later. Trust me, that will help the Raptors win sooner than later. And he's special. In some ways, that's what everybody in this league wants, a player like Scotty. Don't get it twisted. And we need to covet him and treat him correctly, Raptors Nation. Stop acting stupid is what I'm saying to y'all right now. That's right. Let's see. Kaloy's also saying the Pacers are doing this without a top 5 player. It's a slap in the face of any NBA expert. I love it. Yeah. Yeah, I think this is very true. I think this is very, very true. Mo's saying, hi, Isaac. Hope you're doing well. Mel saying if the Pacers hadn't gotten Siakam at the trade deadline, they don't get to the finals. Yeah, they don't do that trade with Toronto. They don't do anything they've done the last 2 years. Nope. Siakam is absolutely crucial for this. Absolutely. Milbester understands as a Knicks fan. That's right. Blackhawks saying true. But that's what failure is about. You lose, so you look to improve by going out to get Pascal. If they didn't get Pascal, they would have just gone to plan B. Yeah, but who knows if that player fits so well with the team like Siakam does with them. Siakam is a perfect fit. If there were not exactly the right fit with Toronto at that point, it's definitely a way better fit in Indiana. I'll say that as a Raptors fan. So, I mean, once again, let's stop getting ahead of ourselves. Let's let these guys come back healthy and watch games before we start being overly critical. I mean, seriously, what's the point of it? We're in the middle of the beginning of June. We're not even through the finals of last year. We're not even at the draft yet, and people are already coming down on Scott with expectations that are absolutely ridiculous, honestly. Absolutely ridiculous. Stargate saying, I guess some of your overcritical fans would have rather had Scoot Henderson or Jonathan Kuminga in place of Scotty on this current Raptor team, since you all love to criticize him so much. Fuck out of here. Yeah. I mean, I'm with you on that. The fans don't know what they're talking about. They don't need to be GMing. Trust me. Blackhawks saying, remember, people only talk about the interesting ones, good or bad. Yeah, I'll say that. In some ways, that's part of why they're talking about Scott, because they care. And he is an interesting player. That's for sure. All right, let's see. I got to get back to my place. I lost it. Where is it? Where is my place here? Okay, I went past it. Okay, Blackhawks saying, we are a big fan base with different viewpoints, but at some point we will all be on the same page. I have a dream. I don't see this happening. But we can have voices of reason alongside the voices of chaos and toxicity. And hopefully there's a balance. I do like that the Raptors fan nation is one of the least toxic, according to that graph we saw recently. And I feel like the work we've done has been a very big part of it. So let's keep doing the work, and we will be that counterbalance to the nonsensical, childish prattle, as Stargate calls it. Yeah. Well done, Lex. Your episode with Brian was great. Yeah, I was half asleep during it. I don't know if you could tell. We filmed it around midnight last night. And, I'm an early guy now because I do my show now, and my brain's not exactly right around then. So if I was a little weird, it's because of it being late. And Brian, pepped me up, and I went a little whoa, no, and all kinds of stuff. But it was fun to do. And I'm looking forward to doing these with him over the course of the finals. And it's great that the turnaround can be so quick and we can get a timely reaction shared between the two channels. It's a big collaboration. And I appreciate King for offering me the opportunity to come on and do this with him and Arturis. It's awesome. It's awesome. Yeah, I haven't even watched it back yet, so I haven't had time, but I saw that they got it up real early, and Stargate saw it before I even woke up this morning. And yeah, I appreciate you guys supporting both our channels. And if you have not subscribed to The Point, subscribe to him right away, y'all. Seriously, he's a fantastic channel, and I'm enjoying doing this collaboration with him. I'm glad you like it, Mo. It means a lot that you like it. Stargate saying, you guys sat here and hated on and criticized Vince Carter for not trying and being lazy, as you now have a player who's working his ass off, playing hard, getting his face busted by big lugs like Joker. Yeah, and you're running him out of town with your unnecessary over criticism of him. Well, they're not going to run him out of town. We won't let them do that. Scotty won't either. We're going to be strong, and we're going to support him. And in some ways, the bad part of Raptors Nation can be acting like asses, but there's enough real ones like us. Scotty, understand, we are with you, and we ain't trying to trade you for anybody in this league. And these other people, they're not real ones. Honestly, I'm going to say that over and over again. They're not real ones. There's no quick fixes. In fact, there's an interview with James Dolan saying this himself. It's like, in the past, the Knicks, we've tried to fix things real quick with a flashy free agent signing or a flashy new coach, and none of that stuff works to get to where you need to go to. I've learned there's no quick fixes. You have to do things the right way in building your team, so there's no quick way to it. And that's what I'll caution the Raptors fans. We need to do this the right way and build it slowly and methodically, and not shoot impulse buys or trades just because something comes up all of a sudden, but it would derail our long-term plans of what we've already been doing. And that's what this Giannis bullshit is right now. And people need to realize this in Raptors Nation. They really, really do. They really, really do. It's a quick video to watch this morning. You watched it too, Neil, and you liked it? Yeah, I hope I wasn't too loopy and weird. I got a little juiced up for a second there. Stargate say, yeah. Let's see. Kareem saying, Indiana Pacers are well represented with their players in their respective countries. Nebhart, Mathurin, Halliburton, and Pascal, they discovered the secret sauce. They seem like the veteran team in the series. That's for sure. That's for sure. Wayne's saying, remind me what month we're in now. June. Our roster isn't settled until October. Then we can debate. Our core is set, plus some rookies and draft coming up. Talk to me in the fall. I know. People are just bored this summer. Go be Blue Jays fans, y'all. Seriously, go watch the Blue Jays. Go watch Vladimir Guerrero. Go watch the WNBA. Come on, there's other stuff to do. You do not need to overanalyze the Raptors. If you do, you can come and watch the Raptor Freak stream every morning, but we'll do it in a sane way where we're being supportive and non-toxic. But yeah, some of y'all that are going on and on about the Raptors right now, take a break, take a vacation. Seriously, you don't need to be thinking about the Raptors right now. You go ahead and put it on sleep mode until how about September? And we don't need to hear from you. We'll talk around the draft. We'll talk around summer league, but otherwise, just go about your business. It's nice out. It's summer finally in Canada. Go enjoy the weather and stop getting on the computer and talk about Scotty and the Raptors so much. Honestly, you could do better things with your time. That's what I'm saying. And Wayne understands this. Come talk to him in October. That's right. Most saying, KT and Cool Cat, are you coming tomorrow? We'll have to see. Hopefully they will. Cream saying Obi Toppin was the player of the game. I don't know about that. He was almost the problem of the game for a little while there. His relentless pursuit in the second half to be better after a poor first half showed me a lot about him. I'll give you that. He made up for his bad first half in the second half. And those key three-pointers were a big part of it. Key three-pointers, yep. G saying the 10 large market teams fund the NBA through an income-sharing business model. It is in the league's best interest that small markets become successful so they can contribute back into the pool. I agree with this. I mean, there are some franchises that carry the league. That's true. But in some ways, if you ever want to get those other teams out of the mud and more self-sufficient, well, let them have some success. That's the way it does it. I mean, we've seen that exactly in Toronto. The championship has meant the world for our team to the point where our team increases its value and profitability despite losing seasons. It's a surefire win. It's like the funeral industry. There's always going to be people dying. You're always going to be in business and do well no matter how the times are. Well, the Raptors, even in recessions and tariffs and all kinds of weird stuff. Their team losing, their team playing in Tampa. The brand has stayed strong and built a value through these times. The Raptors have gone up in value even in the bad seasons recently. So in some ways, you see what a championship reverberates to. It would help. And that's maybe why Adam Silver's in the age of parity, because he understands this. He may have saw some of it in Denver too with their championship, Milwaukee in their championship. So yeah, this is the way to do it. Let anybody win. And all of a sudden that market's more economically viable because people feel like winners. That's what I'm saying right there. Wayne's saying the Pacers are a dangerous team for the simple fact that they go into good teams' houses and beat them. First game wins away from home are huge. They're mentally tough, man, for the team that gets beat like that. They are so tough on the mentality. And in some ways, the Thunder have been untested to a degree in this mentality test. The season was a cakewalk in a lot of ways, and they just ran through the whole entire league. The playoffs, they had some tests with the Thunder, with the Thunder with the Nuggets. But this is different. They didn't lose game one like this to the Nuggets, did they? No. And they're going through a little bit of a new mental test right now. And well, let's see how they react on Sunday. We'll have to see. Yeah. Let's see. Cream saying, Monique, I will message you via Discord privately later. Yeah, I don't know if she's on the Discord. You might need to do it through the Facebook. That's right. Most saying W stream, W vibes, go Raptors for life. Keep at it always. Lex, I'm right at 2 hours. I need to get done. Helping me limit the comments. I appreciate that. Yeah, Mo's not on the Discord anymore. She gave up on it. So she's not actually in there with us. Neil saying Pacers had 3 ways to score last night on the last possession. So they put the odds in their favor. That's how you close the game. Yeah, that was the high percentage shot right there. You obviously got to go with the clutch guy who's proven and done this over and over again. But in some ways, Siakam could have taken that shot and made it and been the hero too in some scenarios also. But the Rick Carlisle offense dictates, well, get it to the best high percentage shot. In that situation, with that time on the clock, it's Halliburton. It's Halliburton. That's right. Stargate saying the with all these new tall, long, slender 7-footers is that they didn't learn as a big man. You have to always hold the ball high and not bring it down. Almost all of them today have stopped doing that. Yeah, there's some different things that this new prototype like Chet and Victor need to learn. And it's ways of Oakley and Barkley. There's stuff that you absolutely still need to have if you're 4 and 5. And that in some ways, until they do that, they're not legitimate bigs in my vision. They're like supersized wings is what they are to me. Until they can hold space in the lane, these guys aren't legitimate centers or 4s. They might as well be 3s or 2s in my world is what I'm saying right now. That's right. Neil's saying we live in an era where your centers and power forwards play like guards. Kind of what I was just saying. So the big man knowledge becomes a lost art, like fashion will come back again. Well, it's a bread and butter way to win. Seriously. And in some ways, we could argue that Siakam is more of a big man in the low post than those 2 guys, Victor and Chet. And that's why, in some ways, that's a better weapon. Honestly, I hope Scotty goes to the post so much next year. And it's because of this, because it's high percentage, it's deflating. And, if you can dominate in the post, like physically, and nobody can stop you, you're usually going to deflate them and they're going to feel like they can't win. And they might roll over and just like lose and give up. Seriously. At a certain point, you have Shaq doing certain things down low and you can't do nothing about it. Wilt Chamberlain doing certain things like that down low and you can't do nothing about it. That really kills the spirit of a team. It really, really does. Seriously. And that's why I like the power game. That's why I like the strength and the size of a player like O'Neal from the past. And in some ways, I don't respect these new hybrid skinny guys that are not anything like this. It's a lost art. No, it's a fundamental of the game. And it's not ever going to go anywhere away. They can put over importance on the 3-point line. But at some point, some team is going to capitalize on the advantage of having the big guy in the post that can dominate the game, like historically the NBA has had. Wilt Chamberlain, Bill Russell, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Shaquille O'Neal, David Robinson, Akeem Olajuwon. These are guys that did it the right way as a 5. And that's what I'm saying right here. There's the new trends and this, that, and Victor. You can be all that, but that doesn't mean that wins. It can be fun to watch, and it can be kind of a cool look at the future. But it doesn't mean it wins, is what I'm saying. And Victor has not won yet since he's came in the league, has he? No, he hasn't. Stargate saying, always hold that ball high as a 6'11", 7-footer. I just watched a video Lex posted on the Raptors' first win over the MJ's Bulls, and even a player like Carlos Rogers had that fundamental skill of holding the ball high. There you go. You got to teach them better. Kareem saying, for everyone panicking about Scotty, just know he's on track to be great. Even popcorn has a process before it's flavored and buttered. Man, what the fuck am I talking about? I like this, that he's like questioning himself mid-comment. He's like, man, what the fuck am I talking about? I'm going to give you a dunk. Because you know what? I get the analogy. It's exactly right. Popcorn ain't right. It's still hard. It's got to pop. And in some ways, the pop is going to come in Scotty's game to a new level. And people will be like, why did I even doubt him after that? It'll be a lot like doubting Masai. I should always trust Masai. You should trust Scotty too. Trust me. I'll tell you, trust Scotty. I love that you're like, what the fuck am I talking about? UC saying, what if SGA ends up winning the finals MVP while losing the finals? It'll be just the second time since Jerry West. This is an interesting scenario, and it could happen. It could happen. It's not likely, though. It's not likely at all. In some ways, you got to understand how that happened for Jerry West. It's because over and over again, he kept losing to the Celtics in the finals, and they felt bad for him. So he was the best player that year in the finals, even though his team lost. And it was really because he kept running that wall. Just like the Raptors had LeBronto, well, Jerry West and the Lakers had the 60s Celtics. And they just dominated them. And this is part of the reason why Jerry West couldn't live another day to see the Celtics win another championship. And he passed away before the Celtics actually won because it tormented him. So in some ways, that MVP, finals MVP for Jerry West and losing was kind of like a consolation prize for the torture that the Celtics franchise put him through for that decade in the 60s. He was absolutely one of the best players in the league. He's the logo. But the Celtics were the better team, and they always beat the Lakers during that decade. And when he finally beat them once, with Elgin Baylor. They won one championship in that era. That was a big deal. But there was a year where he didn't win, and he won the MVP. It's consolation prize. And it has to be built up for that to happen. So I don't see this happening. If the Pacers win the series, even if SGA is the best overall player in that, they're going to reward the best Pacer. In some ways, that was a consolation prize to Jerry West for getting beat up by the Celtics. In some ways, it's like, well, we can give it a Celtic over and over again. But in some ways, we need to throw some shine on Jerry right now. It's kind of what happened. Neil saying Pascal was still the top scorer for the Pacers. Howley had to be a specialist more than a scorer to get the job done. Yeah, and their offense was not that good for most of the game, but they got it going when it mattered, and that was at the end. That's right. Kaloy saying that's the thing. The Pacers don't have set roles. It can be Pascal as the scorer some night is Miles, and so on. Yeah, and they've got diversity, and they've got actually really talented role players on that team too. Like Ben Shepherd is very useful as a backup with a defensive presence in the backcourt. And he's kind of like a Nebhard kind of energy coming off the bench. And Neesmith's so underrated. In fact, Neesmith impressed me so much last night. There's a whole other level to his game defensive-wise that he's not getting credit for. And he showed it last night. Just being a shit disturber and just being in the middle of everything as a middle of everything kind of player for the Pacers. He's not going to get a lot of accolades or shine, but Aaron Neesmith is like the X factor for the Pacers right now. Miles Turner can be the man for them if he gets going on threes. He can definitely be that. That's right. Let's see. Wayne's saying Nebhard has learned from last year when he made mistakes that caused the Pacers to lose. The Canadian point guards are the top tier of international basketball currently. Awesome. These guys are awesome. Yeah. And all this experience right now for the 4 Canadians in the finals right now is going to bode well for Team Canada stuff too. You got to think about that too. Like this experience, SGA becomes a champion, an MVP, or vice versa. One of these other guys like Nebhard and Mathurin get this experience. It's going to really help Team Canada either way. And it's true. We're getting a good showcase. The whole entire world is watching guards for Team Canada excel and play badass right now. Andrew Nebhard, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Lou Dort. And rightfully so. On the broadcast, they pointed out that a lot of these guys played in the Olympics together on Team Canada, and there's a lot of camaraderie, and there is definitely a competition between Andrew and Shai. There definitely is. Oh, yeah, they are going at each other because, they have some shit talking they're going to do while they're on Team Canada in the near future. Watch. Yeah, bring back the swirl. That's right. Bring back the Siakam swirl. That's right. I hope that they're using it in Indiana. They better put that McFlurry for a limited time only at McDonald's down there. I don't need it at McDonald's anymore, Isaac. Shunning all American brands as a proud, strong Canadian. If I'm going out to get a burger, it's Harvey's or A&W. And I ain't going nowhere near Wendy's, Burger King, or McDonald's for the rest of my life. That's right. You lost a customer for the rest of your life, McDonald's. I'm actually making a very good health choice. I just added 5 years to my life because I'm shunning McDonald's. But yeah, if they had the Siakam straw, I might have to compromise my principles just for a little bit, just for Siakam. That's right. Stargate saying, what I hope doesn't become a problem is Halliburton and Pascal having issues. I get narcissistic energy from Halliburton. That I don't like. I feel this too. I feel this too, Stargate, that in some ways, I think that they handled it well, but in some ways, Halliburton may have felt it a little bit about Siakam getting the hardware in the last round. Seriously. And who knows? Hopefully this won't be a problem. Coach Carlisle is a good coach and he keeps the egos out of it. So I don't think Siakam's going to be the problem, but I could see it being Halliburton. Siakam's okay with get along with anybody in this kind of way. And it was proven on the Raptors in different ways with him and Kawhi. And even when Scotty came in, Pascal was so humble in allowing space for Scotty Barnes to have a presence and leadership on the team. So I don't think the problem will emanate from Scotty. It will come from Hallie if he thinks his shit's too good to smell. And that may be a problem. I feel that energy too, to a degree. I see it a little bit too. But it won't mess them up now. But it could mess them up after they're very successful and they get big heads. Neil's saying it's not Hallie. It's more the ball movement gets the ball away from Pascal. And sometimes when Pascal gets the ball, he passes it back. That's why Pascal has to score without sets being run for him. I noticed they stack him on the weak side. They go and they look and they focus on they'll have a couple of Pacers on one side doing a triangle and Siakam's over on the other side. In some ways, he's the emergency plan, the dump over. Throw it over the weak side really quick. And if you're in trouble with the shot clock, let Siakam do his magic to get a last second shot and try and score then. He's kind of like the emergency, in case of emergency, pull this lever guy. And I think that I've seen that action with them a lot. It's like, yeah, they're not doting on him, but he's definitely their bailout plan. If the shot clock is running low, they're getting the ball to him to make something happen with a dribble or a turn. And that's smart because he's very good at getting scores under pressure in one-on-one situations against anybody. So it's smart. It's smart. In some ways, that's part of it too. Maybe they went to him and they fed it through him all the time like the Raptors used to. He'd be too tired to do the bailout stuff at the last second because he's not carrying it for the whole 24 seconds. So the philosophy is sound in my eyes about like kind of deferring away from Siakam, but then he can fill in the holes whenever at a moment's notice. And that's really kind of how they use him. I can see it that way. Stargate saying, I have respect for Wemby ever since I saw him being the only player at the All-Star game putting in any real effort while all the other players were goofing around. That's a good point, and I agree with that. Yeah, I like that. In fact, he was so competitive at the All-Star break. He was willing to break the rules in the skills challenge with Chris Paul and try and do something funny, something quick, which actually got him disqualified from it. But he was such a competitor. He was gaming it like that. And he was mad when they disqualified him and Chris Paul in the skills challenge just because he decided to just throw the balls real quick instead of actually trying. That was so funny. I have respect for him too for that. The competition, even in the exhibition of the All-Star. I saw that last year too, man. Neil's saying, look at the last possession. Pascal was cutting in case Hallie had to throw it down low or to get the rebound. Caruso actually snubbed Pascal under the basket, which should have been a foul on Caruso. They're not going to call it at that moment. You know that. And especially in the playoffs at this point, they're not calling a whole lot. You really have to foul people to get these calls. Some of the offensive charges that were called on the Pacers were rightfully so. Maybe Lou Dort was flopping slightly, but there was, the whistles are weird, man. They'll allow a lot of contact on offense. But if you steamroll somebody as an offensive player and run over a defensive player, they're calling it and reversing the ball the other way. That was interesting. A couple of turnovers for the Pacers came from offensive fouls drawn. Luget's in particular. Yeah. Stargate saying, wasn't Carlisle an assistant with Jeff Van Gundy as well? You know what? Let's go look at him real quick, and we'll go over his whole entire coaching career real quick and see exactly where he was. Of course, he was a player too, guys. He was a player on the Celtics, and he won a championship with the Celtics too, guys, just so you'll know. He played for the Celtics from 84 to 87. And that was years when they were winning some championships. He won the NBA championship as a player in 1986 with Larry Bird, Robert Parrish, and Kevin McHale. He's been a champion as a coach in 2011 for the Dallas Mavericks. The first time he coached, he was an assistant coach for the Nets in 1989, guys. So he just finished playing for the Nets. And that year, Rick Carlisle played his last year as a net in 1989. Then he switched to an assistant coach. So he's never coached for the Boston Celtics. I was wrong. He never went back. He was assistant for Portland in the mid 90s under Rick Adelman. And then he went and assisted for Indiana under Larry Bird, 97 to 2000. So he was an assistant coach under Larry Bird then. And then he went and coached the Pistons from 2001 to 2003. And he just missed out on that championship the Pistons got in 2004, the next year, right? Then he came and coached the Pacers for the first time from 2003 to 2007. And then he was the Mavericks coach when he won the championship. And now he's been the Pacers coach for about 5 years now in the recent terms. So, yeah, he's only coached the Pistons, the Pacers, and the Mavs, but the Pacers twice. And he's coached the Pacers now for like 8 years cumulatively. So he's been the Pacers coach for a long, long time. I don't know if he's an assistant coach for Jeff Van Gundy. If he was an assistant coach for Jeff Van Gundy, nah, he wouldn't have been any of these places because Jeff Van Gundy wasn't in those places that we named just now. Let's keep going. Seymour saying, watching on 1.5, I'm far behind. There you go. Catch up. Who had the best in-game dunk as a Raptor ever in the history? I don't know. Maybe James Johnson. That may be the guy with the cocked the joint and banged on him. That's right. Neil's saying, Lex, the only reason people are whining is because Pascal got a lot of heat in his final days, but there is no need to be defensive because Pascal is in a better situation. I'm more upset that people keep whining that we should still have him on our team. And like half these people are the same people who are whining that we need to trade him as soon as possible too. It's like, man, you can't win with these people. They're going to just say stupid shit no matter what. I'm just saying. Kaloy saying, advance happy birthday to Mo. I can't come tomorrow, life with toddlers, but wishing you all the best. That's sweet. Oh, that'd be nice if Kaloy and Santino could come down. But last, this life with toddlers. There you go. There you go. Wayne saying the Pacers' penchant for coming from behind to win games is reminiscent of the Raptors this past season, but definitely not the same results-wise. But a few of our games were lost by under 2 to 3 points. Yeah. I mean, there are a lot of similarities between the Raptors and the Pacers. In fact, Rick Carlisle said about the Raptors this year when we played them, they're a team that plays hard. They play really, really hard. They're relentless, and they play all out. And in some ways, I could tell he admired it, and he wanted that for his team. So I do feel like there's a little bit of sharing notes and attributes between the Raptors and the Pacers. The Raptors are more like the Pacers than most of the teams in the NBA. And, well, the Pacers are going to be successful like this, then what we're building seems to be a successful type of build. Is the Pacers kind of build is showing a lot of success right now. So we need to be patient and understand what we're doing in Toronto is really worthwhile. We'll get there up the escalator like the Pacers eventually. Trust me, because we're doing it similar to them, and that's what we need to do. Trevor's saying, I'm talking about Markieff Morris and his brother. Oh, they hired them? The Morris twins? Okay, yeah, you didn't put Morris in there. So Markieff is these guys are doing it. They got bounced out of the league finally. They're finally like, yeah, we're not going to play anymore. Why are those guys on? Seriously. These guys have a personality? Like, seriously, I thought that they were just big goons. And they're just like tough guys that hit people in dirty ways on NBA courts. They have personalities? Like, seriously? Like, what is their personality like? Man, stop forcing these idiots on us, like Draymond Green and the Morris twins and Richard Jefferson. It's like, I get it. You're putting Draymond on Jimmy Kimmel because you want to make him the next Charles Barkley. But I hate him. I don't want him to be the next Charles Barkley. You can pick somebody else that's better to be the next Charles Barkley. There'll never be another Charles Barkley. Stop trying to make the next one. That's what I'm going to say right there. That's right. Classic card. We'll do that very soon. Cream saying water is wet, but water is made up of billions of molecules. One molecule is not wet. Therefore, when you put a billion molecules to make water, it becomes wet. So yes, water is wet, but one molecule is not. Man, you're tripping me out, bro. Whoa, you got up early for that one, man. I don't know. Should I give him a dunk? I'm scared. Is this Neil deGrasse Tyson here all of a sudden? We got a physician? No, not a physician. A physicist? You're a physician. Smooth saying, the criticism of Scotty Barnes comes from a good place for me, at least. He's a young man, a lot to learn. He is going into his 5th year, though. It's not early in his career anymore. It's all perspective and what you want to say, man. Seriously, everybody hits levels at different times. And I don't want to mess up getting to the levels with Scott just because people are impatient. That's what I'm saying. You guys stop. Seriously, the schedule is not on y'all's time. It's on Scotty's time. And you can say, oh, he's not a young player anymore. He needs to show more. Just stop. Pause. Stop. Stop. It's not our place. It's not our job. We're fans. We need to go to the games, cheer for the team unconditionally, love the team, and we need to stop nitpicking them so much like this. I'll nitpick them after games coming up this season, but it's with a kind heart and a criticism that is constructive and not just like this and this and this. I'm just sick of it, man. Don't try and justify the over scrutinizing of Scotty Barnes right now. Smooth is none of it is right. None of it is right now. And even if you think it comes from a good place, it's unnecessary. And I'm asking for y'all to just mute yourselves for 4 months. That's all I care about. When we get back to the season, because all this does is build up stupid stuff over the summer. And our players are on their own time now. They have more time to see this shit. It's better if they're criticized during the season because they're too busy doing stuff. So it's like, let's just stop. Why do we even go here? Why do we have to participate? Because the other parts of Raptors Nation are participating. No, we don't have to jump on this over criticized Scotty bandwagon. We do not. And I'll stand on this. I will. That's right. George Mirzan. Now, George Mirzan, he had more bulk to him. So he was tall, but he was also wide, and he could hold space up. The problem with George was he was too slow overall. He couldn't get up and down the court fast enough. But he was a very tall, 7'7" guy, but he also had size out a bit more than Manute and Sean Bradley. Yeah, a bit more. Seymour saying Chet will have a better career than Wembanyama. I don't believe that. I do not believe that. Maybe team-wise accolades, I don't think that's true either. Even if the Thunder win this championship right now, the Spurs will come back and Victor will get 2 championships to Chet's 1 at some point. I'm going to disagree with you respectfully here. Halliburton is a marketable name in America, not Siakam. That's why I compared him to Hakeem, the most underrated, the most unheard of murderers. Yeah, I mean, this is true. Halliburton's Team USA, Halliburton's America, and all that kind of stuff. Well, I know that's exactly what it is, but I like that the voters still gave the MVP of the Eastern Conference Finals to Siakam, and rightfully so. Rightfully so. Seymour saying Mathurin and Williams had a personal battle throughout the game. Yeah, it was fun to watch. Jalen Williams came out down the lane that one time, and Mathurin just had this beautiful block. Such good athletic control. Now, Benedict did not have a good game last night. He was struggling, and the game last night wasn't benefiting an athlete like him. But he's going to get his chances to shine. He's going to go off at some point in this series. I predict him to have a 20-plus game in this series at some point off the bench. But last night wasn't that night. It wasn't that night, but the Pacers still won. The Pacers still won. Fiercely saying flopping slightly. Lex, I love Lugetz, but I must admit his flopping is on another level. Yeah, he's a master at it, and he did a good job. And yeah, he had a few of those, and they were turnovers for the Pacers. Kaloy saying, yeah, Pascal walked into him, and he looked like he got shot. Reminded me of Embiid. Hang on. Reminded me of Embiid. Oh, I jumped ahead, and it's not that far ahead. It reminded me of Embiid and Harden flopping first round against the Raptors. There you go. And King's here. What's up, Freak Nation? Good to see you, Brian. People are giving good responses to our collaboration last night. And Raptors Nation's thumbs up on what you did. Superfan Mo and Stargate, they like what we did. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to game 2. Thank you, Brian, for giving me the opportunity again. Fiercely saying kudos to Draymond, I guess. This means he has a solid agent finding him all those TV gigs. That's the NBA. Pushing him as a face, and the ABC's has a place in it too. The ABC's Jimmy Kimmel, and they're doing the finals right now, right? So they want to have finals coverage, so they're going to put NBA people on there, and he's done that show many times already. It's just that I hate that they designate him as the poster boy for media and doing this stuff. I really do. I hate Draymond Green. I wish he'd retire and I'd never see him again after he retires. But I have a feeling I'm going to have to see Draymond Green for the rest of my life because of this bullshit. So I don't want to see him. I just don't want to see him. I want him to stop being on TV. I hope he does something so stupid and controversial he gets fired, like Paul Pierce. That's what I want. I want for him. Maybe he says something stupid on his podcast that absolutely gets him barred from being in that job anymore. Because I hate him in that role. I hate him in that role so much. I really do. It's putting a Raptor hater in a spot where he can be more of a Raptor hater on a broad place and say stuff about our team and paint people's minds about it in unfair ways. So fuck you, Draymond Green. I do not want to see you on TV anymore. And fuck ABC for putting him on Jimmy Kimmel last night. That's what I say. It's the NBA is his agent. It's not his agent. It's the NBA saying you got to go on the show. So we promote the show on ABC. Let's see. Stargate saying I can tell Lou Getz has gotten some tips from his Team Canada teammate Kelly Olynyk. Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's a heady, smart player. But yeah, I can see that. And Fierce saying, hi, Brian. I'll watch the collaboration with Lex later. That's awesome. Yeah, the Kelly O effect. All right, we're at the end of the chat. So let me just go over a couple things real quick. Let's see. I did that. Let's see. Is there anything on Blue Skies that's interesting? Probably not. There hasn't really been in some ways. Yeah, the fallout with the the U.S. politics right now, I don't totally trust it. I think that they're putting on a charade. They're not actually against each other. But then again, the airing of the dirty laundry, like the Epstein stuff, is telling me something else. Now, if you really go through with what you're saying, Donald, and you're going to cancel all Elon's contracts, I would love that. Please do it. But you better mean it, seriously. Because seriously, this is tasty. I hope this is for real. In some ways, I don't trust them because they're friends with Vince McMahon, and I know how fake beefs can be put on display just for show. And this could be a distraction in some other weird way. But it seems really good, but too good to be true is what it seems like with Elon and Donald right now. That's what I'm saying. Doug Smith saying that he thinks Noah Senge makes a whole lot of sense for the Raptors. I'm suspicious, just like I'm suspicious of ESPN saying it. So now Doug's saying it too. I'm suspicious. I don't think we need to get Noah Senge, guys. I'm going to say that over and over again. Siakam getting the post-game interviews is awesome. We always love that. There's somebody on Reddit who gets it, that they're watching the Pacers and they're understanding what the Raptors are trying to do is similar to what the Pacers are doing right now. And that bodes that we're going to have some success in the future. Raptors Reddit, too much rumors and stuff. I'm sick of it. Stop being so rumor-oriented. No birthdays today, guys, unfortunately. Let's do the classic card, guys. Let's go on that now. Yeah, no birthdays today. We didn't have a single birthday today for today's stream. Yeah, we'll do this one. This guy's goofy. This is going to be a card I'm going to hold from far away because I don't want to hold it too close because in some ways the name is too easy to see. Can y'all see it from there? Maybe I'll bring it up here. First and last name, please, on the card, on the classic card today. This one's pretty easy, honestly. If you can see it, you can see it. Allen Iverson? No, that's not Allen Iverson. Carlo JS got it. It's Aaron Gordon. Aaron Gordon when he was on the Magic. Yep, good job. Kaloy getting that one. I'm going to give you 100 for that one. So Kaloy's getting a classic card today. It's not every day that Carlo JS gets it. So that's pretty cool. Aaron Gordon is the answer. Yeah, and this Kaloy today. Let's see. Carlo JS. And we'll put 100 on him for today's classic card. All right, let's wrap it up, man. I want to get out of here before 2.5 hours. Yeah, Kalo's biggest opponent. That's right. That's right. That guy. All right, y'all. Thanks for joining me today. Really kind of a reaction stream to game one of the NBA Finals. Exciting game, close game. Halliburton winning it at the end by 1. Siakam carrying most of the game. The Thunder maybe not doing enough to really respect the potential of the Pacers winning it at the end like that. They're going to not make the same mistake. Watch. They're going to come out more prepared, and they're going to be a little bit more diligent about closing them out. Trust me. You'll see it. But, yeah, kudos to Rick Carlisle. He's a genius coach, one of the best coaches in the league, honestly, underrated. And he did outcoach Mark Dagnall. You guys were right. And, well, we'll just have to see what Sunday brings. But tomorrow, Saturday, Share the Love Club, James Johnson, by request by the superfan Monique Lawrence. We will be celebrating two-time Raptor James Johnson on the stream tomorrow morning. So I hope you'll join me. And also come to the birthday party at 5:30 at NBA Restaurant. And then on Sunday, I have a Sunday special report to do, and that'll be game 2 of the NBA Finals also that day. You know what I realized? I didn't actually add up the star points for the Raptors season this year. And I need to do the work to find out who the best star points were for the Raptors main squad. I did the 905 one, but I never did the Raptors one. So maybe we'll do a Sunday report on the star point system for this year, and I'll add up the totals and see the top 10 Raptors for this past regular season as far as what they did in games and adding up to winning. I have to find that. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching me today. Please like, comment, subscribe, share, join the channel. If you join the channel, you get access to the Discord server and the Facebook group, which has a wide variety of sources and people that are sharing things that are Raptors related 24/7. And I appreciate Brian once again for collaborating with me on the finals reaction last night. I hope you guys will watch that 20-minute clip. Some of the stuff I said on the channel today is a little bit crossover with that, but there is some fun stuff I didn't say today on that also. So definitely check it out and give us up to the point. And yeah, thanks for having me on, Brian, once again. Let's go Raptors and let's go Canada. Let's see some more great Canadian play from people like Gilgeous-Alexander, Nebhart, Dort, and Mathurin, and Siakam. Let's go Raptors. Raptors past and present. Let's go Raptors. And lay off Scotty, y'all. Come on now.